7-year-old son of rapper Lil Jon. That search is underway as we speak. Milton police leading that investigation. We'll have a live report on that in just a moment. We are also following developments under the Gold Dome, the Georgia State Legislature, where a bill has been proposed that would limit the release of police body camera footage in some circumstances. Our Doug Richards is standing by for a live report from the state legislature in just a moment. And of course, we are getting ready for Sunday. The Super Bowl is on, and it's right here on 11Alive and 11Alive Plus. And there are, as always the case when we're talking about football, some close Georgia connections. We're going to have a report on that in moments. But we start here with meteorologist Melissa Nord, who is ready to, I think, give us a sunnier forecast than what we've had in the last couple weekends.
You know, the odds are in our favor, Zach. We've had a lot of odds, right?
Yeah,
Odd
we do.
weekends and a lot of betting odds coming up for this weekend. Even though we can't bet in Georgia.
Right.
You can bet on a good forecast, and I was going to show you some of the betting odds.
That was clever. I like that. You can't bet, but you can bet on a good forecast. That was good,
You
Melissa.
can. You can bet your bottom dollar on a good forecast. Hawkeye, Iowa, from the Music Man. I didn't even know this morning who was in the Super Bowl. Can I be honest with you?
That's not great, but you can be honest. This is a program for honesty.
Bad Bunny was in the Super Bowl.
I think a lot of folks who, producer Gabby has her hand in the air right now. I know Gabby knows who's playing, but I know Gabby's excited about the Super Bowl halftime
I know
as well.
there'll be some great commercials.
Yep.
Did you know you can actually bet on the color of Gatorade that they're going to pour on the coach's head at the end? Did you know that?
I didn't know that, but I can't say I'm surprised. We're doing a lot of, there's a lot of odds lines out there.
There's a lot of really odd odds lines. So right now, the Seahawks are favored over. The line's moving to minus 4.5 to minus 5. Gatorade colors, you want to take a gander at it?
I bet you yellow is the favorite.
Oh, yellow. Well, not correct.
Okay, well, wouldn't be the first time.
Orange is the favorite. Plus 210 to 225. I don't even understand odds.
But there are people who are watching who do.
Things. But I didn't know this. Gatorade actually became the drink of choice for the NFL officially in 1983.
It's got electrolyte. This is not, to be clear, we're not endorsing any products here.
No.
University of Florida.
It was made at the University of Florida. Wow. All the Bulldogs fans are really excited about that. So before you get to your Bulldogs connections in the Super Bowl, I'll tell you about the odds of a good weekend in Atlanta. And it's looking pretty good. I want to take you out to the Super Bowl right now. This is overlooking Levi's Stadium there in Santa Clara. And you can see it's a little bit hazy out there. They've got hazy filtered sunshine, lovely air pollution in the air. Things are not going to be too bad as we head there this weekend. And here locally, not too bad either. Our weekend outlook, for the first time in more than a month, a dry weekend, Saturday and Sunday for North Georgia. So that's great news, but a little bit cooler outside tomorrow than what we have today. We've actually just spiked to 60 degrees in Atlanta. It is so nice outside right now, but this is the front coming in. It's got cooler air behind it, and you can see some of those little rain showers and snow showers on the map. We're not going to get the snow showers here, but we will get the cooler air. It's 60 right now. You can see back in Cincinnati, it's 35, 25 up in Cleveland, and a new wind advisory just issued in the last hour for northeast Georgia. Tonight, some of those winds could gust in the mountaintops, the ridge tops, above 40 or 45 miles an hour, easily. So I just want to show you these wind gusts. These are coming in from the north. They're going to really crank up tonight after sunset through tomorrow morning. Then by tomorrow afternoon, we should see them calming down a little bit. But you see there tomorrow morning, gusting 47 in Clayton, not Clayton County, Clayton, Georgia, in Rabun County. So really strong winds are likely there tonight through tomorrow morning. And that wind, it's a driving force. It advects or pushes in colder air. So outside right now, we're up to 60. It's 20 degrees warmer than yesterday at this time. Why did I take my comp day yesterday instead of today? I'm not really sure.
You goofed.
It's Olympics Day, that's why.
Well, there you
Couldn't
go.
take today. All right.
And we're glad you're here, Melissa.
It's really nice, though. I just want to show you into the weekend, though. It does get a little cooler. So decent through sunset, then the numbers tumble. Tomorrow morning, the wind chills will be down in the 20s, and then the wind chills, the feels like temperatures will stay in the 30s through much of the morning. But next week, we get a nice little warm-up coming in. So it's just short-lived. By Sunday, we're back up to the mid-50s, and then mid and upper 60s Monday and Tuesday. So the groundhog said 6 more weeks of winter, but we'll see that winter take a little back seat next week.
And we will take it. And you know what, Melissa, as much as I do love the groundhog forecasts, we like yours better. Particularly, we like them always, but particularly when they're trending in this direction.
We like the uptrend.
Yes, we do. Melissa Nord, thank you very much. All right, we're going to turn now to a story that has been developing just in the last few hours, and it is a story that we have been following for the last few days. There is an ongoing search for Nathan Smith. He is the 27-year-old son of rapper Lil Jon. He was reported missing earlier this week. Our Marissa Sarback has been following this case all week long. Marissa, you're in the city of Milton right now. What's going on?
So we're near downtown Milton. Actually, this is the area, Zach, where police originally told us that Nathan Smith had been reported missing from at about 6 o'clock Tuesday morning. I will tell you, in the last 5 minutes or so, we've just seen police take down that crime scene tape. Milton Police, Alpharetta Police, Fire and Rescue, all on scene, as well as dive teams. They've been searching through the lake area or the pond area that's outside a housing development here. I want to take you first to some video that we have from the scene. This is from our camera on the ground. You can see that dive team going and searching for 27-year-old Nathan Smith. Now we can see a couple of different people go in the water, a couple of people come out. They were in there for a couple of hours this morning. They got out at about 1 o'clock this afternoon, and now I want to take you to some chopper video because you can see what happened. They pushed us back from the scene. This is the only vantage point that we were able to get. We do not know at this point what they found, but we do know they made a discovery. So you can see they put up a tent, they brought out some bags, they moved some of the people closer with tarps that were in that search and rescue area and on that search and rescue team. So we do know, again, they have made a discovery. We just can't confirm at this point what that discovery is. Zach, I have reached out to police to try and find out what that discovery is. Of course, we're trying to find out if that is in fact Nathan Smith, but nothing has been confirmed at this point. We have just seen with our own eyes that they have made a discovery of some sort.
Our Marissa Sarback, I know you're going to continue to follow this tough story. Thank you very much. And we should note here as well, the rapper Lil Jon earlier this week, a few days ago, released a statement saying we are also asking for continued prayers for Nathan to come home safe. We will, of course, continue to follow developments and are awaiting any updates from authorities in Milton. Marissa's going to bring us the very latest. We're going to turn now to a story that we have been following, and really our Doug Richards, our state capitol expert, has been following for the last few days as he continues to track the Georgia legislative session that is now well underway. We're in about our fourth week of the session at this point, at least in calendar days. Doug Richards, you are following a bill that was introduced that, if enacted, would limit the release of police body cam in some situations.
That's exactly right, Zach. The bill actually was dropped just about 24 hours ago by a Republican named Joseph Gullett, who's from Fulton County, Georgia. And he says that what he's trying to do basically is protect the next of kin of folks who have fatal encounters with police. Those encounters recorded on body cam footage. Technically, body cam footage is public record, and those bits of video are also public record. And Gullett told us that he wants to protect the victims and their families from having those final moments released in a body cam footage through to the public and to the news media and that sort of thing. We talked with Gullett, and we also talked with a Democrat who is opposed to the bill. Let's hear from Gullett first.
It will be still available for investigations, still be available for civil, court proceedings, and it'll be available to the family. But it just shouldn't be for driving traffic to your YouTube channel or to your website in order to just watch people in their final moments. That's just not who we are as a society.
I think public outcry is a huge factor in some of these investigations. If there was never any civil unrest, if there was never a letter written, if there was never a phone call made or a protest or a demonstration organized, many of these families would never see justice.
So yeah, Eric Bell is the Democrat. He's talking about the fact that sometimes body cam footage in police incidents, when released to the public, sometimes propels the population to sort of point out that this body cam footage depicts a crime, and particularly if the police officer in the crime might be culpable for prosecution. The body cam footage can propel prosecutors to examine it more closely than they might have done or than the police might have done if they were not allowed to release that video to the public. So there are strong opinions on both sides of this issue, Zach.
Doug, a question for you. I wonder if you've gotten a sense of how sponsors and backers of this bill respond to folks who I suspect may raise the question of body cams. Both law enforcement and the public advocates have said that body camera footage can enhance trust and enhance accountability by presenting the raw footage of an incident, and particularly when we're talking about a situation where somebody is killed, the most serious interactions that law enforcement has with the public. Have the sponsors wrestled with perhaps there are ways to blur faces or anonymize people in the video without completely eradicating the ability for the public to see these videos that, as one of the Democrats you interviewed said, sometimes reveal important and not yet uncovered details about the facts in question?
Well, I think you're raising an issue that will get raised if and when this bill gets a hearing. The problem, of course, with that is that it adds, even anonymizing body cam footage conceals sometimes potential evidence. And, what we've seen is that when we, as a news organization, release body cam footage, we do typically anonymize it or, treat some of the more graphic material, which just isn't suitable for, family viewing. But the footage tends to become available for the public to see and most importantly, to judge when there are encounters with police officers or other folks who may have been culpable in crimes depicted on those body cam images. So my guess is that this will get if it gets a hearing at all, and most bills dropped here in the legislature never get a hearing, but this is a bipartisan bill that led by a Republican sponsor. Republicans control the Capitol, so it certainly has a chance of getting a hearing, and it's an item of public interest, which is why we're talking about it now.
Our Doug Richards live at the state capitol. Doug, thank you as always. And we should take a note here as well as we get ready to go to break. Doug brought up something that is important for us to spend a moment on, because inside of our newsroom, anytime there's a question of releasing, of broadcasting body camera footage, particularly of a nature that is involving a scene that is grisly, a scene that involves someone's final moments, there are a lot of conversations inside the newsroom, multiple conversations involving multiple people about how to limit the harm to the victims' families and loved ones and anyone else who may be impacted, while also making sure that the public has an unfettered look at what happened so they can be the judge. You can be the judge of what happened. Oftentimes we blur faces. Oftentimes we'll stop the footage before the moment a shot rings out. Oftentimes we will only air the footage once or twice. These are all intentional conversations that we have inside the newsroom to limit harm and also make sure that the public has the information and the tools to make their decisions on incidents of public interest and newsworthiness. We're going to be following this bill closely, as I'm sure its sponsors and its detractors under the Gold Dome will. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
Laura Hill.
Welcome back. We are turning now to an important interview on keeping people safe on the roads, and particularly teenagers, early drivers, people who are young in their driving careers. We have Laura Hill, who is with the National Safety Council, joining us now. Can you hear us okay?
Yes, thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks for being here. Let's start with this. I understand that in 2023, there were 320 fatal crashes and estimated more than 100,000 police reported crashes, particularly during snow or sleet events when roads are really tough for these early developing drivers. That gives us a snapshot, but how big of a challenge is it in your view?
Sure. So, unfortunately, car crashes are the leading cause of preventable death for young people. And we know that most of it is due to inexperience. And so that's why it's so important that parents and guardians are involved year round, but especially during these winter months.
And it is timely because, as you know, we in Georgia, we just got through a couple weekends of snow and sleet and freezing rain and slush, these exact conditions that you are highlighting here. I understand that you have what is known as the Drive at Home program. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. So, Drive at Home is a free resource from the National Safety Council in partnership with General Motors. And it was developed with driver ed instructors from across the nation. So, we have free lessons. So, if parents are looking what to do at home and how to get involved, it's a good starting point. It logs practice hours, it has a parent teen contract, and more. So, we know most parents aren't driver ed instructors. So, this is their one stop shop. And it's free and in Apple and in Google Play.
What are the biggest challenges that young drivers in particular are facing now as they start to get behind the wheel?
Oh gosh, there's a lot of things. But I think just again, it's just getting that experience and knowing that the vehicle that they're driving in. Um, So what we always like to say, especially during these winter months, is making sure that they know how to winterize the vehicle, making sure that they know how to fill up the windshield wiper fluid, that they know that how to fill up the gas tank. You know, you don't want them in a certain situation where they're not with you and that they're prepared on their own.
Have things gotten more challenging for drivers? And I don't want to act like, oh, back in my day, but it feels like cities have gotten bigger, the roads have gotten more congested, the number of distractions have gotten more sophisticated, our phones have become even more almost an extension of our hands. I would imagine that for folks on the National Safety Council, you're keenly aware of the challenges that all of those factors present.
Yes, and that's a good point. Yes, distractions have grown tenfold. We now have things like smartphones that weren't available many years ago. And so I think it's important that we just tell our youngest drivers the importance of just driving and that they're focusing on the drive ahead and that we're starting to get away from those distractions, that we aren't using our cell phones, we aren't, blasting the music, we aren't piling in the passengers, that we're strictly just focusing on our drive.
I suspect there may be some parents listening keenly right now, and I suspect some of them may be saying, yeah, 100%. Of course, I want my teen, I want my kid to be safe on the road. It can be hard, though, to get a teenager to sit down and pay attention and think through these kinds of things. When you're 16, 17 years old, you feel like you're invincible. What tips do you have for parents to have this conversation and have it stick with their kids?
So I always like to say the second that child's car seat is turned around, they're looking at you as their role model. So from the second they're born, even beyond licensure, that you want to be involved, you want to be a good role model first and foremost, and just make every moment a teachable moment, that every time you get into the vehicle, you're buckling up, you as a parent and guardian are focusing on your drive. And then as they get older, you can turn more into that co-pilot role and talking through what you're doing, that, you're slowing down coming up to an intersection, you're doing XYZ to scan the road. So just making every moment a teachable moment. And even after they're licensed, it's still important that you're involved.
It can make it a lot tougher for you to tell a loved one, hey, don't be looking at your phone when you're driving if they've grown up seeing mom or dad, doing this as they're driving, right? Let me ask you, we're short on time here. Last question for you. If somebody wants more resources, if they want to get more information on this, how can they reach that? Is there a website? Is there a phone number? How do they get in touch?
Sure. driveathome.org, all one word. It's, again, has all the resources we just talked about and more, and we just look forward to helping families and to help save lives.
Laura Hill, we appreciate it, and particularly as we head into this Super Bowl weekend when there are going to be a lot of people on the road, a lot of excitement. Very timely tips. Laura, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We are turning now. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we've got a lot to talk about when it comes to the Super Bowl, just days away now, Sunday night right here on 11Alive and 11Alive Plus. We are excited for the big game. You're looking at a live look at the stadium right there, and we cannot wait to bring you the game. We can't wait to get to the other side of this break, so we're going to take it now, and we'll see you in just about 2 minutes. Welcome back in. We are getting ready for a big weekend here on 11Alive and 11Alive Plus. We have the Super Bowl coming up. You might have heard of it. Big game. Here is a live look at Levi's Stadium in the Bay Area, home of the San Francisco 49ers. But this weekend, 49ers are out. We got the Seahawks and the Patriots, who, as you may remember, the last time these two teams met a little over a decade ago in the Super Bowl, it produced one of the most jaw-dropping endings of a Super Bowl in recent memory. Good memories for Pats fans, not so good memories for Seahawks fans. Both teams ready to take another shot at the title. That's coming up on Sunday. And of course, when we talk about football, we're in Georgia, we're in Atlanta. We are a football city and a football state. And of course, there are going to be connections to the big game from folks right here in Georgia. Our Joe Ripley takes us back to school where some NFL dreams first began right here in Georgia.
Mike McDonald grew up in Roswell and went to Centennial High School. His leadership stood out early on, and eventually he became the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. While coach will be roaming the sidelines, Antonio Gibson with the New England Patriots will be watching from the sidelines due to injury. It wasn't too long ago, though, that Gibson was flying high at Eagles Landing High School. Melissa Freeman met a young Mike McDonald in her first year as a counselor at Centennial High School in Roswell.
And it was just so evident early on with Mike how, genuine he is and hardworking and disciplined.
McDonald served as varsity football captain his senior year, was a member of the National Honor Society, and once upon a time wanted to become the general manager of the Boston Red Sox.
One coach even commented that he was the best student athlete he had coached in 14 years.
Blowing out his knee put his playing days to bed. Still, McDonald's route took him to the pinnacle of the NFL as the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks.
It would probably be the greatest sports achievement at Centennial.
Wesley Wasgen was an assistant coach on McDonald's football team, praising his toughness, character, and belief in himself.
I am super protective over my own daughter, but Mike is the kind of kid that if your daughter brought him home, you'd be okay with it.
Nearly 50 miles away,
he was fast, he was shifty, and he was big.
Antonio Gibson sat at these same desks at Eagles Landing High School in McDonough. Claude Spinks coached Gibson in track.
He's really the nice guy that you see. He is super in the locker room. He's a great teammate.
A third-round pick by the Commanders, Gibson recently signed a new contract with the New England Patriots. And while a knee injury has him sidelined for this year's Super Bowl,
I've learned so much watching him. I didn't know what a running back was before he started playing.
He's still inspiring his old teachers, like Shannon Vessel, pouring back into the same community that poured into him.
As a teacher, that's what you want to see, is your students live out their dreams.
And we will be rooting on both hometown heroes there. Super Bowl 60 airs at 6:30 Sunday night on 11Alive.
One of the best things when we get to tell these stories, and Joe tells them so well, anytime you get to go to a school, anytime you get to go to youth coach, they pour into all the students, all the student athletes that come through their doors, walk onto their fields. You never know what that fifth grader, that eighth grader, that ninth grader is going to go on to do. Some of them you're going to see on Sunday in the Super Bowl. And of course the question too, as you're having these conversations, is going to be, well, what do you think is going to happen? Joe had those conversations with some of the folks you just saw in that story. Let's listen in for some hometown predictions.
Actually predicting Seahawks by 10.
I think the Patriots win.
The Seattle Seahawks are going to win.
Obviously, the Patriots are going to come out on top.
So I don't know what the prediction markets say, but I would put some stock in what the folks who helped the Stars grow up have to say. Because look, if you know somebody when they're young, you kind of know them. We're going to see what happens. We're excited for the game either way. We're going to turn now to our Danielle Nottingham, who has brought us a lot of great stories this week, Danielle. So we're so glad that you are back in the streaming studio again. And you've got a story that ties sports and history and culture. You got to look at the Black Quarterback exhibit, right?
Yeah. It's at the College Football Hall of Fame, which is in downtown Atlanta, and they've devoted part of this space to telling the story of the black quarterback in college and how it's transitioned to today and into the NFL.
How much, and I think we have your story queued up here. Danielle, do you want us to take that now, and then we can chat afterwards?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do it.
4 years, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years.
For generations, the sports world questioned the intelligence and leadership of black quarterbacks.
Are you skilled enough mentally to know how to digest and interpret and reflect a full playbook? Are you smart enough?
I still can hear the noise where people saying I can't throw the ball.
Through narration from the athletes themselves, the College Football Hall of Fame chronicles how they overcame discrimination.
A lot of them played for HBCUs.
One example is NFL MVP Steve McNair, who attended Alcorn State, an HBCU. It was one of the few paths available for black athletes to lead the huddle.
Some of the challenges that we found through talking with these respected guys is, how did the media cover me? How was I perceived by my peers? Was I able to integrate myself into certain communities that didn't have a diverse population?
The exhibit features USC's Jimmy Jones, the first black QB to appear on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Grambling State's Doug Williams, who was the first black QB to start and win a Super Bowl. And Syracuse QB Don McPherson, who suffered 2 season-ending injuries but still made the university's Hall of Fame.
Even modern day, Syracuse has an African-American head coach, which I believe some of these stories are showing us how you can pay it forward.
That legacy is visible in the NFL today, where black QBs make up half of all starters for the first time in league history. Players like Jameis Winston and College Park's own Cam Newton helped pave the way with a rare feat, winning the Heisman Trophy and a college championship in the same year.
Some of these challenges that these quarterbacks have faced, they still face nowadays. So we want to show not only an exhibit that impacted our past, but we want to bring it forward and let everyone know that if given the opportunity, you too can succeed as well.
More than black history, these are trailblazers in college football. In downtown Atlanta, Danielle Nottingham, 11Alive News.
And Danielle, obviously we are in February, it's Black History Month, and all week long you have been sharing these stories that blend our past and our present with a look and an eye kind of towards the future, too. Yeah. When you were at the College Football Hall of Fame and having those conversations, was there a moment that really resonated with you?
Yeah, I think, well, one, there's so many people we don't know of that played, and they weren't able, I shouldn't say to make it very far, but as I was mentioning in the story, there was an opportunity, and it was, can you read the playbook? Can you lead on the field? And so these guys would want to be quarterbacks, and then they would get to the league or get to a certain team, and they'd switch their positions. And then also when you, like in the beginning of that story, when you look at the board of who won the Heisman Trophy, there's this large gap, like a 10, 15-year gap, and then it's 1, 2, 3 years. So you can see where the tide was turning and where the progress was being made in as far as respecting the black quarterback.
And there's a real historical element to this too. Not many people know this, but the first commissioner effectively of the first professional football league that went on to be the NFL was Jim Thorpe, who was a Native American and by far the most talented athlete of his day. And then after a few years later, I mean, it was the color barrier was really erected in professional football, and you see this college football impact there as well that you've told us about. What did the College Football Hall of Fame folks tell you about where they think things are going? I know the gentleman you interviewed mentioned a lot of progress has been made. You pointed out about half of NFL quarterbacks now are black, but he mentioned too, look, there's a lot of road still to go here.
And I think that it almost leaps into not talking about the quarterbacks anymore, just like he was saying. Hey, look at Don McPherson at Syracuse, and because he opened that door, they now have an African American head coach. And so maybe the tide needs to turn a little bit in that sense in the National Football League. We don't see a lot of African American coaches. So his whole concept was it's a trickle down effect. Right? It's kind of like paying back. You blow the door open so somebody behind you can come in. And besides it being a massive place.
It's a huge facility.
It was my first time there. Huge facility. There were already some exhibits that were already dedicated to black quarterbacks, but they made this particular section for them. But another cool room was the Heisman Trophy portrait room. And again, you can see with your eyes the progress that was over the years. It starts with white athletes, and then all of a sudden it stops, and you start seeing the black quarterbacks getting weaved into the mix of everything. So it's very visual, a lot of great information. I mean, and who doesn't like football?
Who doesn't? You know, and in so many ways, football is one of the few real, true, big tentpole events that we all still gather around. You know, almost the fireplace. It's the television now, but something we all experience, or at least most of us in America, together at the same time. 100+ million of us are going to experience the Super Bowl on Sunday. For the fans, did you get a sense at all of how the representation and how the way the quarterbacks are talked about impacts their perception of the game?
I think so. I think everything surrounding it, but I think we're in a new era now. We're in a new generation where we're seeing these young guys. They're winning Heismans, they're winning national championships, and then, you know, the next thing you see, they're the first round pick. So they can't think in their head a time when they never saw someone like, you know, like a Jalen Hurts or a Caleb Williams, Penix, you know.
The opportunities are there and right in front of you.
They're right there. And when you talk about the Super Bowl, one of the people that they dedicated it to was Doug Williams, who, you know, the first to start, the first black quarterback to win. And it's kind of like, oh, okay, is this a little told story? Do we remember this or not? So it's good to have a place where you can go back and be like, oh, yeah, that happened. That's what he did.
A lot of history made in many Super Bowls. We're going to be watching to see what happens this weekend as well, with an eye on our past, and that you have so rightly illuminated for us. Danielle, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a quick break right now as we bump out with another live shot of Levi's Stadium in the Bay Area. You don't see a ton of activity outside of those tents right now. You are going to this weekend. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back into the 11Alive Plus streaming center as we approach 2:42 in the afternoon on the East Coast. Melissa Nord, meteorologist, joining us again. And Melissa, it is not only a check on the forecast, which we always appreciate from you, but also a look at a week that we've been paying a lot of attention to get us ready for the spring severe weather season.
Right, we've been digging out of the cold this week. We're finally up to 60 this afternoon, but the first week of February is also severe weather preparedness week, and I know through the week, it hasn't felt very spring-like, but it finally does a bit today. So today's topic is flood safety, and this is under that umbrella of things that are not covered in one of these severe watches or warnings. We can see flood watches, meaning flooding is possible, and we also can see flood warnings, but these are not severe criteria items that we are seeing issued by the National Weather Service. And flooding is a killer, okay? Every year in the United States, we lose, on average, more than 50 people to flooding. You can see the average from 10 years of data, from 30 years of data. We have seen the numbers coming down in some recent years, but we can see flooding from summertime thunderstorms. We can see flooding when we have hurricanes coming in, like we saw from Helene back in 2024. So it's one of those things you got to take seriously, because people often drive on the roadways and don't realize how deep the water is, what the integrity of the road is underneath the water, and what might be in that flood water. We could have live wires in the flood water, or different animals and snakes in the flood water. So you don't want to walk through it, and you also do not want to be trying to tread your car through it as well. So we always say this, the saying, turn around, don't drown. Turn around, don't drown. And here's why. 6 inches of swiftly moving water can take you off your feet and send you straight away. 12 inches of water can float a small car if it's moving quickly enough, those waters. And if you have a giant, around here in the South, we have a lot of those big pickup trucks with the big wheels and giant SUVs. Well, less than 2 feet of water can also float and carry away a large SUV or a pickup truck. So it doesn't actually take that much water to cause a force that can pick you off your feet or take that car and sweep it away. So today's message of the day is turn around, don't drown.
Can we pause on that message for just a second, Melissa?
Sure.
Because, I think that is so important to emphasize. This is not like a line where you see a reporter at the airport. I've been guilty of this, where they say, oh, pack your patience. That's annoying. I've done it, but it's annoying. This is serious. When you say turn around, don't drown, if you've had the unfortunate job of covering flooding, of covering hurricanes, people get stuck.
Oh, yeah. It's heartbreaking.
When you're driving, too, you might say, hey, I got a big truck. I'll be fine.
Right.
When you start driving into water, especially if you're going downhill towards where a lot of the rivers and streams are, 2 inches of water, as you start to go in, can start to become 6 and 10 and 20.
Yeah.
You can't see the bottom.
You cannot. And you also can't see if the road's still there. So often these culverts or these storm drains get washed out and the whole road gets washed out, but you don't realize because the water's rushing so fast. So it's a lesson to teach yourself as an adult driving, but also to teach your kids. It's a good reminder, turn around, don't drown, as well for them. If they come to a creek or a stream that's in the backyard and it's moving swiftly, don't go in the floodwaters. It is too dangerous to do so.
This is the continuation of an important conversation we've been having all week. It helps keep you safe. It also helps keep the folks whose job it is to keep you safe, keeps them safe too. Because if you do get stuck,
right,
first responders have got to come and get you, and they're going to do it, but it puts them in jeopardy too.
It does. I just want to mention, we have a whole special on 11Alive Plus we've been airing each evening around 9 o'clock or so. It's a 21-minute special on all things severe weather preparedness from the whole team, so you can watch that for free on your TV as well.
And we just had a conversation a little bit ago about teen driving, educating young drivers. What a week to watch a 21-minute special. You got the time. We're going into the weekend. What a better way to spend your Friday night. You know what? It'll be good.
All right.
Melissa Nord, thank
problem.
you very much. We're going to turn now to developments in an ongoing story we have been following for the last few days. This is live helicopter video over the city of Milton, where authorities have been searching a pond. This is a continuation of a search for Nathan Smith, who is the son of rapper Lil Jon. He is in his late 20s. He was reported missing earlier this week. Police said he may be disoriented. They were asking for the public's help in locating him. Authorities have been searching this pond that is close to where Nathan Smith was reported missing. We are awaiting official medical examiner report. Authorities say they have recovered a body out of the pond. The medical examiner is examining now, and authorities at this point say there's no indication of foul play. Again, that body that was recovered from that pond that you're seeing here, not identified at this point. We're continuing to follow this tough development in this story. Our Marissa Sarback is there at the pond. She's been following this, and she's going to continue to bring us the latest confirmed details that we have. We're going to continue to follow this. We are going to turn now to our Grace King, who is here in the studio. And Grace, you've been covering a tough story too, but an important story, the case of Colin Gray, the father of the accused Appalachia high school shooter. He's getting ready to go to trial.
Trial starts Monday with jury selection. Jury selection will be in Hall County. Obviously, like you said, this is a tough case. Everyone in Barrow County is very close to it. It's a very close-knit community. So they're going to go to Hall County rather on Monday to try and find those 12 impartial jurors, probably plus or minus some alternates. And that's going to be the start of the case.
And this is, if you live in Georgia, if you live in Metro Atlanta, if you live in North Georgia, you remember this, of course, but this is the Appalachia high school shooting back in 2024. 4 people were killed, a number of others were injured. Colt Gray is the accused shooter in that case. Colin Gray is his father, and prosecutors have brought charges against Colt Gray, but also his father, Colin Gray, here, in what legal observers have said is a pretty novel legal theory to charge the parent of an accused school shooter. How did they get to this point?
We've seen this once before in Michigan. That's it. So we don't really know what's to come, how this is going to play out. It's never happened before in Georgia. They're basically using the theory that Colin Gray's reckless conduct is kind of the underlying factor, contributed to this murders. The sheriff has told us that the rifle used in the shooting was a Christmas gift to his son. There were some prior concerns about his son's mental health history of violence, etc. There have been some prior school shooting threats. The catch is we don't know what evidence prosecutors have, how specific some of that evidence is in terms of what threats were made, what his father knew, how credible his father thought it to be. But I spoke with former DeKalb County District Attorney Robert James earlier, and he kind of helped me break down what to see at trial.
When jury selection begins Monday, it won't take place in Barrow County.
Imagine trying to find 12 impartial citizens who have not been affected by this directly or indirectly.
Instead, Judge Nicholas Prim will temporarily take the bench in Hall County.
You have to take this to a new county where you have a new crop of jurors that can be fair and impartial so that the defendant's constitutional rights are guaranteed.
Robert James is the former DeKalb County District Attorney who now works as a private defense attorney. He's not representing anyone in this case, but is curious to see how it plays out. The indictment charges Colin Gray with 29 counts, including second-degree murder, saying he, quote, consciously disregarded a substantial and unjustifiable risk by allowing his son, Colt Gray, access to a firearm and ammunition after receiving sufficient warning that Colt would endanger the bodily safety of another.
The more specific the warning the father had, and the more warnings that were available to the father or that the father got, right, the better the state's case.
On September 4th, 2024, authorities say Colt opened fire inside Appalachia High, killing 4 and wounding 9. Now, jurors will have to decide whether Colin Gray should be criminally responsible for that tragedy.
It's a very novel and new, extraordinary, even legal concept, right? It's very aggressive. We've not seen anything like this in Georgia.
In Barrow County, Grace King, 11Alive News.
And important to point out here as well, Colin Gray has pleaded not guilty. Again, we're getting ready for this trial to commence on Monday. Juror selection will be the first phase of this trial. Grace, I would imagine that alone is going to be a challenge to be able to seat an unbiased jury, even after the change of venue.
Yeah, Hall County, in all reality, isn't that far away from Barrow County. Colin's defense attorneys have long fought the court. They were unsuccessful, that Hall County was not far enough. They were hoping to bring the trial kind of near the Georgia-Florida border or Savannah area, just so it was far enough away that the media exposure, the communities aren't so intertwined. The defense attorney, or the prosecutors rather, had suggested something like Walton County, which is basically on the line with Appalachia High School. And the judge said, no, that's too close. Let's go to Hall County. It's a similar demographic of Barrow County, which is important to consider when you're changing where the jurors will come from. Let's go to Hall County. It's a bit more removed than Walton County, similar size, similar demographics, similar political leanings. They all look to find a jury pool that will be similar to the county where the trial will be held.
And you talk about the efforts of the defense to move the case even further away from Barrow. They didn't make it all the way to the coast or to the southern tip of Georgia. They got to Hall County. What else has the defense raised in terms of early defenses to these charges?
They have a lot of concerns about statements Colin Gray had made to investigators in the aftermath of this shooting. Of course, Colin knew his son Colt was under investigation for this. He was like, what's happened to my son? He runs out in the body camera and he's just saying, where is my son? Is my son okay? Has my son done something? Can someone explain? Like, you want to look at the house? Come on in the house. Here's my phone. Here's this. And he's just kind of readily offering up all this information, trying to make sure his son is okay, trying to figure out what had happened in the moments of the shooting. It was the next day that when he went to the sheriff's office for an interview where they actually started looking at him as a possible suspect. And his attorneys were saying, you know, this isn't really fair. He wasn't in custody. He didn't know he was a suspect. He maybe wouldn't have said so much had he known. And the judge said, you know, I get it, but that's not a valid defense. We will be allowing that evidence into court. But they have a lot of concerns about just statements and things Colin had handed over before he knew he was a criminal suspect in this case. Again, it's the first of its kind. You don't typically see the parent charged in this. It's not something that would necessarily cross your mind.
And you pointed out earlier, the state's case hinges on this idea of Colin Gray allegedly acting recklessly, acting negligently. The accusation isn't, the state's position of things isn't that he in any way planned or knowingly contributed to the shooting. Is that right?
Correct. So when I talked to Robert James earlier, he mentioned that, you know, you'll see accomplices criminally charged a lot of times where it's, I'm going to do this, can you drive the getaway car? I'm going to do this, okay, I'll give you the gun. None of that is alleged here. There's nothing in the indictment that says he played an active role. It's more of that passive role that he knew there were these concerns. He knew there were mental health issues, possible threats in the past, and didn't do anything to stop it. You shouldn't have provided him that gun because there's these underlying factors. That's something you typically see in civil suits, not something you see so much in the criminal side. So that's where a lot of this is going to be interesting to see how it plays out in court, because you don't often see, well, you didn't do this, so we're going to criminally hold you accountable. A lot of times that would be something civil.
And Grace, you're talking about a case of effectively first impression, is the term of art in the law. You mentioned the Michigan case, but essentially this is unplowed legal ground in Georgia and effectively around the country. How long is this trial expected to take?
In court before, they were saying maybe 2-3 weeks. Of course, they have a very, very, very long witness list. We don't know if they're going to call all of those witnesses. A lot of them might be repetitive, and they might just kind of see where the line of questioning goes. But it will likely last the rest of this month, possibly into March. We'll see kind of where that goes. But in terms of the impact of this case, whatever the verdict is, it's going to set a precedent, like you said, because it is a case of first impression for cases to follow.
And could lead to appellate litigation as well that sets some precedent in the future here in Georgia. Grace, I know you have covered this tragedy from the start. I know you're going to continue to stay on top of it. I know where you will be next week. We know you're going to stay on top of it. Thank you very much.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
We're going to turn now. We are going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this, right around the top of the hour. Welcome back into the 11Alive Plus streaming center, just shy of 3 o'clock on the East Coast, as we continue to follow the case of the disappearance of 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. She is the mother of Today Show co-anchor Savannah Guthrie. She was last seen, Nancy Guthrie, on Saturday evening, reported missing on Sunday. NBC's Liz Kreutz has been in Pima County, Arizona, all week following Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. Here's Liz with the latest.
This morning, new details on the increasingly desperate search for Nancy Guthrie.
Whoever is out there holding our mother, we want to hear from you.
Late last night, Savannah posting this video of her brother Cameron talking directly to the person or people who potentially took their 84-year-old mother.
We haven't heard anything directly. We need you to reach out, and we need a way to communicate with you so we can move forward. But first, we have to know that you have our mom.
The video was posted just minutes after the first of 2 deadlines on a reported ransom note sent to 3 news outlets, according to the FBI.
The ransom note that was distributed to the media did make a demand for 5 p.m. today. And if a transfer wasn't made, then I think a second demand was for next Monday.
The special agent in charge says the FBI is still investigating the legitimacy of the ransom note, which he says referenced in Apple Watch and floodlights information that was publicly available. But the note did not include any contact information.
In a normal kidnapping case, there would be contact by now.
Authorities also arresting a man they say sent a hoax ransom demand to Savannah's sister Annie and brother-in-law.
To those imposters who are trying to take advantage and profit from this situation, we will investigate and ensure you are held accountable for your actions.
Now entering the 6th day of the search, authorities still have no suspect or person of interest in the case. But they did release a more detailed timeline of the night Nancy disappeared. They say at 1:47 a.m., the doorbell camera disconnected. At 2:12, software detected movement on a camera. And at 2:28, Nancy's pacemaker app disconnected. Authorities also confirming blood found on the porch was Nancy's. The sheriff tells us investigators do not have the doorbell security camera from Nancy Guthrie's house and have not been able to access any surveillance footage from the home.
What gives you hope that Nancy is still out there?
Wow. You have to have hope. You have to have hope. You can't. Come on, this is somebody's mom. We're going to find her.
Now on day 6 of this search, that was NBC's Liz Kreutz. You hear what the sheriff said there. You have to have hope. Anytime you cover a case, anytime, as we all have been watching along with this case, you are hoping for the best outcome. The FBI is now offering up to $50,000 in reward money for information leading to the recovery of Nancy Guthrie and/or they say the arrest and conviction of anyone involved in her disappearance. That was according to the FBI in a Thursday social media post. You saw in Liz Kreutz's piece there, Savannah and her siblings posting, and understandably, terribly emotional post to social media asking for whoever is responsible for the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie to make contact with them. Earlier this week, Savannah Guthrie also posted to social media just talking about her mom, whose connection between Nancy and her daughter Savannah was well known and cherished. Savannah Guthrie describing her mother as a, quote, woman of deep conviction, a good and faithful servant, she said on Monday, and she went on to ask supporters, quote, to raise your prayers with us and believe with us that she will be lifted by them in this very moment. Bring her home. That was Savannah Guthrie talking about her mother as this search for Nancy Guthrie, 84 years old, is now in its 6th day in Arizona. We're going to turn now to another search closer to home. This is the case of Nathan Smith, who is the son of rapper Lil Jon, who was reported missing earlier this week. Our Marissa Sarback has been following this case. Marissa, you have some new updates for us.
Unfortunately, Zach, this is certainly the ending that nobody wanted, but just within the last half an hour, we have received an update from Milton Police saying that a body has been recovered from the pond outside of Nathan Smith's house and development here in this area. Now, they believe it is the body of Lil Jon's son, Nathan Smith, but they cannot confirm that at this point to us, saying the medical examiner is the only one who can officially do that. But this is the exact area where he was reported missing at 6 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. Now at about 12 o'clock on Friday is when we saw them bring out those tents and bags and move closer. The dive team searching that pond all morning. I want to take you to some video footage that we have. This is from our ground camera. You can see that dive team in the water. We have Milton Police here on scene, Alpharetta Police, fire and rescue teams from all around the area searching for Nathan Smith. The one thing the police can tell us is that they do not believe any foul play is at work here. They believe that this was just simply a disappearance. He walked out of his house. He was disoriented, according to the initial report, on Tuesday morning at about 6 o'clock. And again, today, unfortunately, we have found that that body has been recovered from this pond just outside of his house and his development here in the downtown Milton area. So a very sad update for you on this case. We knew something was coming because we had been moved back from the police department that was here on scene earlier. As you can see, there's not much going on here on the scene at this point. Police and fire have cleared out from this area. They were able to do the search and rescue early this morning, and those teams, dive teams, again, went into that pond here, and we are told this is the update, that they have found what they believe is the body of Nathan Smith. Zach?
Marissa, you're very much right when you say this is not the ending anybody wanted. We appreciate you staying on top of this. Marissa Sarback, thank you very much. We should note here too, in a social media post, Lil Jon just a few days ago said that he is asking for the prayers for Nathan. You can imagine that that request continues for Nathan, for the family, for the loved ones, as we wait that medical examiner's identification of the body that was recovered in that Milton pond. We're going to turn now let's do this. Let's take a quick break here. We're going to go to break. We'll be right back after this. Well, we are gearing up for a big weekend here at 11 Alive and all across Metro Atlanta and all across Georgia and all across the country, and I suspect in many places all across the world. Sunday is the Super Bowl right here on 11 Alive. And look, you'll probably be inside when the game actually comes on, but Melissa Nord, meteorologist Melissa Nord, is here now. This is not the kind of weekend where you got to stay inside all day leading up to the game.
No. I mean, it's not a perfect weekend. It's a little chilly some of the days, but what's so nice about this weekend, Zach, is that there is no rain.
Lovely.
There is no snow.
Lovely.
There's no ice.
Also lovely.
No storms.
We
had
love it.
severe weather a month ago, so yeah, we'll take it as a win. This is a weekend when you can make plans to be outside. It's a little bit brisk and gusty outside at times, but sunshine Saturday, sunshine Sunday, that is a winning forecast that everybody can bet on. So it's going to get a little cooler tomorrow. We're up around 60 right now, and the change coming in is from this next front. It does not have a lot of moisture with it. It's what we call a clipper system. It's moisture starved, but it will bring some gusty winds with it, and you see that temperature drop off. Ooh, we just spiked to 64 in Atlanta.
Wow, look at that.
Oh, that busted the forecast by 5 degrees, and I'm okay with
It
that.
broke it in the right way.
Absolutely in the right way. 33 in Cincinnati. So you can see that colder air coming. It'll come in with these really strong wind gusts. So the winds will start picking up around sunset this evening, peak overnight through tomorrow morning. Some of those peak gusts in the higher elevations of the mountains could be around 50 miles an hour. So these will be some strong winds howling in. You can see at sunset and beyond, some of the gusts around the metro, 20 to 30 miles an hour. Some of those gusts first thing tomorrow morning. Look at that, Clayton, Georgia, not Clayton County, but in Rabun County, so higher elevations, 47 mile an hour gusts there. So some really strong winds coming in tomorrow morning through the afternoon, and that is what's pushing in the colder air outside. So we're at 64. That's 20 degrees warmer than yesterday at this time. 63 in Marietta. Oh my gosh. Kids get off the bus today, make them play outside. That's what I say about that. Really nice afternoon, even though the breezy winds will start to pick up. So looking decent as we head through the overnight. Tomorrow is colder. That cold will not last long. I'll show you the 5-day trend. We're back to the mid-50s for Super Bowl Sunday. It's a cold start in the 20s, but if you want to do some afternoon flag football outside, in commercial breaks while you're watching the Winter Olympics, you can do so. And then that big game will have temperatures here in the metro in the 40s, so a little cold, but if you have the fireplace and the big TV outside, should be okay for that. And then next week, upper 60s are back. So we're going to talk more about that at the top of the hour at 4 o'clock here on 11 Alive Plus.
We like the way that forecast looks, Melissa. Thank you very much.
Sure.
We appreciate it. Let's turn now as we talk about the weekend forecast and we talk about the Super Bowl. Of course, you got to also talk about the halftime show. Bad Bunny is this year's headliner, and he recently talked about his rise to global superstardom.
I wasn't looking for anything of this. I wasn't looking for the album of the year at the Grammys, also at the Latin Grammys. I wasn't looking for perform at the Super Bowl halftime show, and I just was looking for connect with my roots, connect with my people more than ever, connect with myself, with my history, with my culture, and I did in a very honest way.
Is Bad Bunny there in an interview ahead of the halftime show, and here to join us and talk more about the impact that this show and this performer will have is Dr. Taina Figueroa, who is a postdoctoral fellow at Emory University. Can you hear us okay?
I can.
Wonderful. Thank you for making the time for us. Let's start with the big, obvious 30,000-foot question. How big of a cultural impact is it to have Bad Bunny performing in the halftime show on Sunday?
It's huge. As someone who is of Puerto Rican descent, it is incredible to see Puerto Rican culture and music featured on a global stage like this. I think it means a lot to a lot of people, even beyond those who are Puerto Rican, to have someone who is centering Latinx music styles on this global stage is a huge win, I think.
And this is your area of study, your area of focus at Emory. How has the global and American perception and maybe acceptance of Latin music changed over the years, and how has Bad Bunny in particular helped evolve that?
So I think that with like I teach courses on Bad Bunny and the history of Puerto Rico, and I have seen students from all over be really interested and attracted to his music. I think because as he in the clip that you showed there, he has always really tried to kind of speak from his very personal lived experience, and he really brings that into the music. And he ends up bringing in themes that a lot of people can connect to, from displacement and migration to a love and joy for one's culture. His music travels in a way that that's really quite remarkable. Even if one doesn't understand the language, he still is able to communicate, in particular, really strong emotions about who he is and pride in who he is.
And I know that the National Football League has been working to expand beyond the bounds of the continental United States. You see more games overseas. Does having somebody with unquestioned global superstardom and global reach like Bad Bunny performing at the halftime show, is that a chance for the league to get more people to tune into their Super Bowl?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think I imagine that there's going to be a lot more Latina folks tuning in this year. And I think it's in part a strategy that the NFL has been using for the last couple of years to kind of expand their reach and welcome all kinds of fans.
And of course, we're having this conversation as we're gearing up for the Super Bowl and right here on 11Alive. It is also a conversation we're having in the midst of a broader cultural and political conversation. Bad Bunny has been critical of President Trump and the Trump administration over numerous things. The Trump administration's response to hurricane damage in Puerto Rico, treatments of immigrants at the Grammys. He criticized ICE. And the president, in return, has criticized Bad Bunny. He called him a, quote, terrible choice for a halftime performer. How does all of this shade how this performance is going to be received?
I think that one of the things that Bad Bunny has always been really good at is sort of capturing the mood of a moment. And it's why his music has the impact it does. And he has always had very he's always been very sort of vocally upfront about in particular what Puerto Ricans and sort of a larger, broader Latina community is struggling or grappling with. And I think to have this on the the stage of the Super Bowl is to recognize that this is actually the moment that we're living. I don't know that Bad Bunny is is presenting anything but a real recognition of the kind of sort of tensions that are a part of a lot of folks' everyday lives right now.
And I want to bring in our producer, Gabby Nunez, who is the real driving force behind this whole program and also a big Bad Bunny fan. I'm sure, Gabby, you've got a question or two here as well. We want to give you the floor.
Absolutely. Dr. Figueroa, gracias for joining us.
Yes.
I'm just curious, what do you want people to take away from this performance and Puerto Rican culture?
I think that one that we're here and that we've been here, and that we have been like, and the kind of amazing cultural and sort of the amazing culture and people that are a part of Puerto Rico and the Puerto Rican diaspora, and I will say the histories of resistance that that we sing about, that Bad Bunny makes music about, and the recognition that that we have lived struggle. And Bad Bunny makes music that that allows us to both sort of wrestle with both the grief and the difficulty of displacement and gentrification at the same time that we are able to celebrate who we are and the joy that comes in our culture.
Let me, Gabby, if you have another question you want to jump in. Yeah, Gabby's giving me the look. Gabby, go ahead. The floor is yours.
I do think that Bad Bunny has been making waves with his most recent album. That's what he won Album of the Year for, Debe de Tirar Más Fotos, DTMF. And you're speaking of some history lessons. Like, what are history lessons that you can educate our audience on right now so they can find those Easter eggs during the performance?
Yeah, so if you're watching the performance, I would definitely watch for elements of bomba y plena, which are Afro-Puerto Rican musical styles and forms that have been around for some of them for centuries. And you'll really notice an emphasis on the drummers, right? There are different kinds of drums that will be used. You'll also notice it in the dancing and the kind of I imagine some of what the dancers will be wearing. There is a real kind of conversation between the drums and the dancers that is a little bit different, and that is really grounded in histories of resistance to colonialism and imperialism in Puerto Rico. And yeah, so that's one way that I am sure and I hope he brings right onto the stage there at the Super Bowl halftime show. Yeah.
Doctor, let me ask you one last question here, and a big thanks to Gabby, too, for asking the really insightful questions there. We're short on time. We talked about history, we talked about culture and politics here, but let's end here. Just the music itself. This is going to be the kind of halftime show where you're going to want to get up off your couch and move. This is the kind of music that gets you wanting to dance.
Yes, I'm super excited. I mean, I have been a Bad Bunny fan for a long time because his music is great. It makes you move. It makes you feel, even if you don't understand all the words, right? He still communicates a real sort of a passion in the music itself. And so I imagine I would definitely, even if you think that you may not know the right steps, it's gonna make you move. That's for sure.
And we are looking forward to that. Dr. Taina Figueroa, postdoctoral fellow at Emory University. Thanks for your time, and looking forward to Sunday, the game, and the halftime show. Thank you very much. All right, we are going to turn now as we excitedly look ahead to Sunday, halftime show, Bad Bunny, right here on 11Alive. We're going to listen in to a little bit more from the man we've been talking about for the last couple minutes here. Here's Bad Bunny talking about what to expect from his performance at the halftime show.
I'm just going to ask it. Are there surprises on Sunday? Are you preparing to bring any? Are you going to do the same thing? Will you have guests on stage this Sunday?
Well, you know that's something that I'm going to tell you. I don't know why you asked that.
We had to, man. We had to.
I really don't want to give any spoilers. It's gonna be fun and it's gonna be easy, and people only have to worry about dance. I know that I told them that they had 4 months to learn Spanish. They don't even have to learn Spanish. They just it's better if they learn to dance. But I think there's no better dance than the one that can come from the heart.
All right, bring your dancing shoes. That's the word from Bad Bunny as we get ready for the Super Bowl. Folks, folks who are going to be bringing their dancing shoes to Levi's Stadium, you're looking at a live picture right now. That is where the Seahawks and the Patriots are going to meet just a little over a decade after their last electric meeting in the Super Bowl back in 2015. That game ended on the last play, the last drive, a thriller. You can expect a thriller of a halftime performance as well. We're looking forward to it. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this. Well, we're getting ready for the Super Bowl on Sunday, but you know what? That is not the only big sporting event we are watching for. We are spoiled. It's an embarrassment of riches here. If you are a sports fan or a fan of culture and history and pageantry, today, the official opening ceremony of the Milan Cortina Games. Where else? Right here on 11Alive, right here on NBC. And who else to cover it but our own Cheryl Preheim, who is a veteran Olympic correspondent for us. She is in Italy with a look at the venue where the opening ceremony went down.
San Siro Stadium is one of the most iconic sports stadiums on earth.
This is the temple of football.
And 2026 Olympic Director of Ceremonies, Maria Lascone,
We organize the 4 ceremonies for the Olympic and Paralympic Games.
Says it's the perfect place for the opening ceremony.
We will kick off our Olympic Games with this incredible event, the opening ceremony. And this iconic place will give us the chance to tell our story.
San Siro has been designed with spiral walkways that look like they're spinning when people walk on them. It's home to the AC Milan Soccer Club since 1926.
This is a long history. In 2026, this place will have the 100th year anniversary.
It's also where some of the world's most iconic musicians have performed.
Bob Marley, Bruce Springsteen, Madonna.
And alongside the Milan Cathedral, it's one of the Olympic host city's most visited tourist attractions. There are tours every day.
Every day, hundreds of thousands of people come to visit this place.
It's now being used for a first-of-its-kind opening ceremony.
We will be the first having diffused ceremony.
It will be inside this 80,000-seat stadium and all over northern Italy, with athletes in the other Olympic host cities of Cortina taking part.
Most of them will be also in the cluster in the mountains, and they will be active part of our ceremony.
Live performances from several other locations.
Cortina will play a role in the ceremony by acting live with us.
All tying it back to San Siro.
We want to celebrate sports, their passion, the success they will have.
Where Maria says billions of people will see the best of Italy.
It will be very emotional.
How can you not look at that and get excited? The opening ceremony officially kicked off at 2 o'clock Eastern time, so we're about an hour and a half into it. If you want to watch, we'll never tell you to leave 11Alive Plus. I'm going to make an exception right now. The opening ceremony is live right now on 11Alive on television. So you know what? If you want to leave the streaming app up on your phone or maybe another tab and you want to turn on the good old TV and watch the opening ceremony live from Milan, you can do both. We're going to be doing both here in the studio. We're excited for it. We're going to take a quick break. Excited as always for this big weekend of sports. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back into the 11Alive Plus Streaming Center. I'm Zach Merchant. It is 3:33 on the East Coast in the afternoon here. And we are continuing to follow a tough story out of Gwinnett County. Last weekend, 2 officers were shot in the line of duty. One, Pradeep Tamang, Officer Tamang, was killed. His memorial service is set to begin tomorrow. It's going to be at 12 Stone Church in Lawrenceville. It starts at 10 a.m. The Gwinnett County Police Department Chief J.D. McClure wrote, quote, "Pray for the Gwinnett County Police Department. Please pray for the families of Officer Tamang and Officer Reed. We ask for your support during this time. Officer Reed, you heard reference there from the Gwinnett County Police Chief. Master Police Officer David Reed was also shot in that incident. He was shot multiple times, initially listed in serious but stable condition. A positive development for Officer Reed. Later this week, the Gwinnett County Police Department reported that he had undergone surgery and was doing well at this time. A suspect was identified and charged with murder in this case. Again, 25-year-old officer Pradeep Tamang, who was killed in the line of duty over the weekend. You see him on your screen here. His memorial service will be tomorrow, Saturday, at 12 Stone Church in Lawrenceville. It starts at 10 a.m., an opportunity for all to pay their respects to that young officer who was killed in what the Gwinnett County Police called an unprovoked attack. That memorial, again, starts tomorrow morning. We're going to turn now to our Grace King, who joins us now in the studio. Grace, you've been covering another challenging story, the fallout from the tragic shooting at Appalachia High School in 2024. A man charged in connection to that shooting is getting ready to go to trial on Monday.
That's right. Colin Gray, the father of Colt Gray, the accused Appalachia High School shooter, his jury selection is set to begin on Monday in Hall County. Now, Colin Gray is accused of gifting his son Colt Gray the rifle that was allegedly used in this shooting. It's the first case of its kind, and it's going to be an interesting one.
And you rightly point out there, this is a novel legal theory being pursued by the prosecution. Colin Gray is the parent of the accused shooter. Colin Gray has pleaded not guilty, but prosecutors are still attempting to convict him of some pretty serious charges here. Second-degree murder, 2 counts there, as well as, I think, 27 other counts in this case.
It's a lot of counts. It carries a lot of prison time, and it's very serious. But again, it's the first case of its kind. So I spoke with Robert James earlier. He's the former DeKalb County District Attorney. Now he's a private lawyer working on defense cases. So he's really seen both sides of these criminal cases, and he helped me break down what to expect from this case and how either side could go.
Typically, when you have something like this, where you've charged a third party in a shooting, they've actually affirmatively done something, right? And they did it with the knowledge that the person was going to do something. We call that accomplice liability or party to the crime. So a person says, I am going to shoot up a school, and you say, okay, here is an AR-15, have at it, right? Well, that's clearly a crime. It's a crime in every state, and that's been prosecuted several times. Here, it's sort of a negligence, recklessness theory, right? Where, you know, the state's theory of the case is, well, he didn't say, here's the gun, go shoot up the school. And the kid didn't say, I'm about to go shoot up the school before he gave him a gun, but you knew that he was dangerous, you knew that he had issues, and you allowed the gun to be available to him. You purchased the gun for him. That's almost a civil theory. You know, we see that in lawsuits. You don't really see it very often in criminal cases. And how they prove this up, what evidence they bring to support this, what's admissible, and if he is convicted, you know, how it's handled on appeal is very intriguing.
And James told me, you know, this is not only interesting to watch in court, but also how it could change public policy moving forward. Again, we haven't seen a lot of cases like this, but we were talking earlier, cases of first impression. Whatever happens here could set precedent in Georgia and really around the country.
And Grace, Robert James, who is a seasoned practitioner of the law, he was the DA in DeKalb County, as you pointed out. Now he's in private practice. He's seen both sides, the prosecution and the defense. He pointed out that this chain of events and the prosecution's telling, it's a little attenuated, and that's something I suspect the defense will point out. They are not alleging, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they are not alleging that Colin Gray knowingly contributed to the shooting, but rather that in their telling, he should have known and done something different?
They're alleging that he knowingly provided his son a firearm and ammunition, knowing that there had been threats in the past and that he had a history of mental health. So they're alleging that there was he didn't know that day he was going to carry out a school shooting, but they're saying, you know, you maybe should have known. One case that's really interesting to me is in Jackson County, a little bit before this shooting happens, when Colt was a student there in that county instead of Barrow County. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office showed up at the Gray house, and they said, hey, The FBI passed along some online threats from Discord. They believe it might have come from your son, Colt Gray. He was threatening to shoot up a school. We just want to check on everything, make sure everything's all right. And they're sitting there talking about it for a while. And they ended up closing that case. They said that they did not believe there was enough evidence to show that the threats had come from Colt or to investigate further. The sheriff at the time said that she stood by their investigation. There was nothing else they should have done in that case, and they closed it. The only thing she had regrets from after this shooting happened is that they didn't notify the school. That was the only layer, but she said, we closed that case. There was nothing credible in that case. So if you take that case, James was telling me earlier that as a defense attorney on that end, he would look and say, well, if the police didn't believe it was a credible threat, why would the dad think it's a credible threat? And kind of looking at things like that is it credible enough that the dad should have believed these threats were real? And a lot of it's going to come down to what the dad knew, how specific the threats were, how specific all of these kind of red flags had been.
And this trial is expected to take some time, right, Grace?
It could take 2 or 3 weeks. And we also could see other parties kind of being dragged into this. There's a couple civil lawsuits underway that say, the Barrow County school system had multiple warning signs. So, if the dad could be held criminally responsible, could you go after the school, this or that? But again, that's the civil side of things. But we could see a lot of fingers pointed elsewhere as this case.
And we talk about the duration of the trial itself, but even just seating a jury here, gonna take some time.
It's going to be hard, and that's one of the reasons that they went ahead and decided to pick jurors from Hall County instead of Barrow County. Barrow County it's a small community. Everyone there knows a lot of people there. Everyone's very touched by this shooting, either directly or indirectly. And both sides agreed that, any potential jurors should not come from Barrow County. There were some differences on where the jurors should come from. The prosecution had suggested Walton County, which is, right behind Appalachia, the county border. The defense was hoping to go near Savannah or the Georgia-Florida border just to get really, really far out. Hall County, pretty close, but again, it's far enough away where you probably don't have kids at that school. It's just a little bit more removed to hopefully find some unbiased jurors.
And of course, at the heart of this is that tragedy at Appalachia High School in 2024. You covered it, I covered it. 4 people killed, 2 students and 2 teachers, and a number of others injured. That was an incident that marked our state and our state's history and changed the trajectory of a lot of conversations here and under the Gold Dome and the state legislature as well. Grace, you've covered this from the very beginning. I know you're going to continue to follow it. I know you're going to be there for all of it next week. We look forward to those updates on this important case.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Grace. We're going to turn now to a quick break, and then we will be right back after this. We are back now with a story so good that it can only be told by our Caitlin Ross. I'm not even going to introduce it, Caitlin. I'm just going to introduce you. Welcome. Welcome back.
I'm so thrilled to be here.
We love having you here. I've teed this up, and I feel like I've undersold it, if anything. Please tell us. Please tell us what we're talking about here.
So this truly might be one of my favorite stories that I have ever done. Like, truly
And that's a high bar.
done. It is a high bar to clear, but believe me, they pole vaulted over this bar because this is the most joyful thing you're going to see all day. So it's called the Storybook Dog Bus. And it is a little chariot in Cherokee County that drives around picking up dogs and taking them around town.
No, come on.
Check it out.
Look at these guys.
They're so cute. So they all have seat belts.
Is that you in the back there?
That's me in the back. Yep. I got right on the bus. I got right on that
Incredible.
bus. It was so much fun. So she started it because she has an animal rescue and she wanted to bring more attention to the animal rescue. So she thought, you know, this bus is cruising around town. People can see these dogs. They can relate to them. She knew people were going to like it.
Into it. Those
Right?
are-
Yeah, they do.
They
get
have
a
a good time out
They get a
there.
little into it. She knew people were going to like it, but people love it. They are famous. She calls them the paparazzi. People will follow the paparazzi. People will follow the dog bus around. It is just phenomenal.
Those look like pretty comfy, you know, at least in the back there. That I don't know if that's like the king or queen dog in the back, but she's got the bed and the pillows there. Everybody else is sitting up where I used to have to sit in the bus. You know, those
Right up front, so they can
vinyl
get
seats.
eye on
yeah.
you.
Yeah, you know, I was a middle of the bus guy. I wanted to sit in the back, but I was not. I wasn't cool enough to make it back there. Caitlin, as I try to like pry my eyes away from just watching that footage, because anytime you see a dog as cute as that on the screen, you want to watch them. But this bus is just rolling around, picking up the dog. Is it like a doggy daycare operation? Or
yes, great question. So the bus itself really kind of serves as a doggy daycare, but she takes them to her farm. So she has this massive 8-acre rescue, and she's got everything from dogs, cats, a lizard, squirrels, goats, pigs. Like, she has all of the animals.
This is a good place to hang out. This is fun.
It's super fun and super fun for the dogs. And so she picks them all up and then she brings them to this sanctuary where they get to run free on the farm. They have so much fun. They get to interact with all of the other animals. And then she brings in educational services. So like kids can go visit the farm. She can provide education about all sorts of different animals. She could provide education about rescue, about caring for animals, having compassion. And then because this has become so popular, she's now using the bus to help rescue animals. So it's not just paying customers. The shelter dogs are now getting on there. And because she has such a huge following on Facebook and TikTok and Instagram, she'll take these rescue dogs that are homeless and they really need a family to love them, and she puts them up live on the Storybook Dog Bus, and bam, they get adopted. It is incredible.
You know, and I would suspect too that, and we hear this, you do a lot of work, and really important work on helping out our shelters that are always facing overcrowding challenges and resource challenges, and lifting up there and highlighting the things that they're going through. One of the things I hear about is, you know, the animals that spend time in shelters, socializing and re-socializing them can be a real challenge, and sometimes it becomes a negative cycle where a dog is in the shelter for a long time. They start to get nervous around people. People come and think about adopting them, but it doesn't go great when you have that kind of first date with the dog, and it can make it hard to adopt out. I would imagine if a shelter dog gets to hang out on this farm, gets to go on the bus, be around other dogs, be around other animals, be around other people, that could really help them be more adoptable, be more healthy, be more happy, be more well socialized.
Exactly right. So these dogs not only socialize with other dogs, they are socializing with people in the community. So as you park the dog bus in downtown Woodstock, people like horde over to the bus. They want to take pictures with the bus. They want to pet the dogs. They want to meet the dogs. So it's giving these shelter pups a real opportunity, not just to get out in the community and get socialized, but to meet people face to face in an environment that's not the shelter. Because Zach, you hit it on the head there. When you meet a dog in a kennel, that's a scary environment. It's loud, it's overwhelming, they're cold and shaking, and that's not an easy thing to picture that dog in your house when the dog is in a cage. When you see a dog out in the community, maybe they're at the patio of a restaurant or they're in this bus, it's like then you start to think, okay, this dog could be in my car. This dog could be on my patio. You're seeing them in an environment that's just so much warmer. It's so much more friendly. And this has been massively successful. Erin is the woman who runs the bus, and she's gotten so many dogs adopted just from taking them out of that shelter environment and putting them in a place where they can really shine.
And I suspect, too, when you talk about, we're having this conversation about what happens to animals that are in the shelters. One of the ways that animals go from being with a family to the shelter is families, pet owners will say, look, I can't keep up with my dog. They're not behaving well at home. They've got too much energy. Atlanta is a growing city. We've got a lot of people who want to have pets. Sometimes they bring them into an apartment. They don't get to walk around as much. They don't get to get that energy out as much. I would suspect a program like this, too, would be a great avenue to get that pooch outside, burn off that energy, and help them kind of be better at home. I mean, I remember growing up, we had a Dalmatian, and she was the best, right? But she was a stray. And we took her in, we adopted her, and when we did, best dog ever. Amber was... my mom's probably watching right now. Amber was the best. Just a saint of an animal. But when we got a Dalmatian, it was right after 101 Dalmatians came out. We were very excited. But I remember people saying, ooh, they can be mean. Ooh, they can be tough animals. And we were like, I don't get that.
Amber's great.
We made sure that she had space to run. And boy, did she run. And when she didn't get to run, she chewed through all the furniture. So she got to run some more. I would suspect, and that's a long way of saying, the dog bus is a way for other animals to get that energy out too.
Yes, because they go to the farm and they go on all these field trips and they do get to run and it's so exciting. And she says they get out to this 8-acre farm and they just shoom, they take off. And because it's all the way fenced, they have that opportunity, that freedom to really run around. And to your point about this being popular, she has a wait list that is like dogs and dogs and dogs and dogs long.
She's got to get a bigger bus.
She needs a bigger bus. So she drives, I think she told me 8 different shifts of dogs right now. And she said she could fill like 3 buses with how long her wait list is because it's so popular. She got the idea from a dog bus in Alaska, which also would be awesome to see the dogs bounding through the snow. But she...
Maybe your next assignment.
Right? I'm going to Alaska!
Yeah, we'll fly you out to Alaska.
Yeah, perfect. I think they'll approve that. But so she saw the success that dog bus had in Alaska, and she thought, gosh, this is so popular. I'm sure this could really help rescue animals and bring that attention. And it became so popular so fast that she can't take any more dogs on the bus. And even the dogs that are on the bus, they now have to go in shifts because she can't take all of the dogs at the same time. And I did think this was hilarious. She has a little dog bus route and a big dog bus route. So the big dogs are all paired up together, and then the little dogs are all paired up together. And she says the personalities are very different. So she syncs them up by personality, but she says the little dogs are the divas. And the big dogs are like, all right, we're here, we're having fun. They're sticking their head out the window. The wind is in their fur, the sunshine in their face. And the little dogs are like, I want service, lady.
There's a lesson in there somewhere about our pets and about our people. And we learn from each other. Caitlin, it's not just the dog bus, although it's, it's funny on TV, you always say, you don't want to keep seeing the same video. We could have looped that video
over and over
of those
and over
dogs
again.
there over and over and over. I was watching, and I was paying attention to you, of course, but I was, that's my favorite. Oh, there's the one in the back.
That's so cute.
But we were also gearing up for we've been talking about the Super Bowl, obviously, and the halftime show of Bad Bunny, and it's all right here on 11Alive. The Puppy Bowl is also coming up.
The Puppy Bowl is coming.
This is right up, and you're a great sports fan too, so I don't want to say like, hey, you're the Puppy Bowl person.
No, I'm happy to be the Puppy Bowl
person.
But
this is right up your alley.
That's a title I will take.
That's a good title.
It really is. So the Puppy Bowl is coming. It is an incredible event, and they spotlight rescue dogs. They spotlight fosters, and this is so important because, like you were talking about, Zach, there is such a need for rescues and fosters and adoptions here in Georgia. The shelters are all super overcrowded, so this incredible effort spotlights those dogs that so desperately need a home. And there's this rescue here in Georgia called Bobsled's Place. They take in puppies that have been abandoned. So like truly the saddest, tiniest violin music you can play. It's like they will just rip your heart out. So she takes all of these dogs in, and every year she applies them to be in the Puppy Bowl. This year, she got RuPaul into the Puppy Bowl.
No.
RuPaul is in the Puppy Bowl. And RuPaul actually came to the studio, which is amazing.
Incredible. That's a VIP visit.
Right. A VIP visit for sure. She also brought some newborn pups, which was really sweet. I bottle fed a pup.
Caitlin, I would never say that you have a better job than me because I love my job, and you have earned every day you spend with these these wonderful animals. And you know, you do it so well.
Thank you.
We have, I think we've got a video of
Yes.
RuPaul.
RuPaul is a star.
We've
Just
got to
wait.
see this.
She was found in a box on the side of the road, just hours old. Now, she's headed to the Puppy Bowl. Bosley's Place, a Georgia-based rescue known for saving the most vulnerable puppies, is celebrating this huge news. Beanie is going to appear in the Puppy Bowl on Super Bowl Sunday starting at 1 p.m. Beanie's life began in crisis. She and her siblings were discovered abandoned in a box an hour and a half away from Bosley's Place. Clayton County Animal Control reached out immediately, knowing that this is the type of pup that Bosley's cares for. And Beanie didn't just survive, she thrived. She was later adopted by a local family, and now she is ready for the big stage. Since it began, the Puppy Bowl has spotlighted shelter and rescue animals, encouraging adoption and showing what's possible when animals are given a second chance. From a box on the side of the road to the biggest stage in sports, Beanie's journey is written in real time, and a proud moment for Bosley's Place and Georgia pups everywhere.
Well, if that's not a story everybody can get behind, I do not know what is. You know, Caitlin, obviously they're adorable. They're deserving of homes and loving families, and God knows you learn so much from your animal, just like, you know, they pick up from you. You know, but you spend so much time in this kind of space. The overlooked, the underserved, the folks who deserve to have their stories elevated, that lift our hearts up, and sometimes they don't get the spotlight always. You do the hard work of making sure these people and these pets are heard from. You know, I'm always so curious, what do you take away from these conversations and these animals or people who need a little love?
Need a little love. Yes. I think that the primary thing that is running through my mind all the time is these are the stories that are going to bring us together. So often in the news, what gets the headline is the things that tear us apart. What is divisive or what is going to make people have a strong opinion one way or the other. But how can we come together around something that's just worth rooting for? And for me, that's RuPaul. It's a Storybook Dog Bus. It's a woman turning 107 and having the entire community come out to really appreciate her. I think there is so much value in celebrating those moments and bringing people together in a way that moves hearts closer together instead of further apart.
Caitlin, last question, super quick, like 10 seconds. If people want to help out, if they want to find a way to adopt some of these pets, how do they do it?
Oh, the Storybook Dog Bus, you just got to go. They've got a TikTok, they've got an Instagram, they've got a Facebook, Bosley's Place Inc. They're all over the place on social too. You can get a tiny puppy or a big dog on a bus. There's a pup out there for everybody.
And they need and they deserve loving homes. Caitlin Ross, thank you as always for bringing us a great conversation and an important one too.
Thank you so much. So happy to be here.
And when we talk about things that bring us together and things to get excited about, we've got a lot. We've got a lot coming up this weekend and a lot coming up at 4 o'clock on 11Alive News and 11Alive Plus. We've got Metro Atlanta's ties to the Sunday Super Bowl coming up right here on 11Alive. And we are also looking at highlights from the opening ceremony of the Winter Games in Milan. We're streaming right here on 11Alive and 11Alive Plus. We'll see you there.
Breaking right now on 11Alive Plus, a tragedy in Milton. Search teams recover a body that's believed to be rapper Lil Jon's missing son. We're live in the park with the latest on this investigation.
Also straight ahead, a new bill that could limit the release of police body cam videos showing in fatal encounters, sparking debate over transparency, privacy, and justice in cases like the 2020 death of Rayshard Brooks.
And finally, it feels like spring outside. Temperatures 25 degrees warmer than this time yesterday, but it's not going to last for long. We'll break down your weekend forecast.
And the opening ceremony for the 2026 Winter Olympics gets underway with Mariah Carey kicking things off. A look at the high note and the burst of color that's straight ahead.
Well, thanks for joining us here on 11Alive Plus and streaming on 11Alive as well. I'm Ron Jones. We're going to begin tonight with breaking news.
That's right. Police say that the search teams recovered a body in Milton today. It is believed to be the son of Lil Jon, a missing adult son, Nathan Smith. Divers with the Cherokee County Fire Department located and recovered a body in a pond near the intersection of Baldwin Drive and Mayfield Road. That is where we find 11Alive's Marissa Sarback. Marissa, you've been on that scene all day. What can you tell us at this hour?
Faith, Ron, I can tell you that that body was pulled out of the pond here outside of what is actually Nathan Smith's development. So that happened around noon today. The one thing that police did tell us is that there is no foul play suspected at this time. They believe it is the body of Nathan Smith, but telling us that the medical examiner is the one who has to officially confirm the identity of the body. Now, we do want to read a statement that we got in from the family just moments ago. This actually coming from a representative of Lil Jon. Quote, "I am extremely heartbroken for the tragic loss of our son, Nathan Smith. His mother, Nicole Smith, and I are devastated. Nathan was the kindest human being you would ever meet. He was immensely caring, thoughtful, polite, passionate, and warm-hearted. He loved his family and the friends in his life to the fullest." And take a look. This is some footage from the scene from earlier today. You can see that dive team in the pond, again, near Mayfield Road and Baldwin Drive here in the downtown Milton area. That 27-year-old was first reported missing by his family on Tuesday morning at around 6 o'clock. Now, police had stated from the very beginning that Nathan Smith had disappeared and was reported missing by his family. They said he was disoriented at the time and that his family believed he was unsafe. Of course, a very tragic update for you on this story. Police, however, do say while there is no foul play suspected, this is still an active investigation, and we'll keep you updated with any new information. Faith?
Marissa, if you can hear me, just one question for you. Did they give any idea of when they will confirm? I know we keep saying believed to be the body, but any idea of when they will actually make a confirmation, when the coroner will come out?
So I think Milton Police at this point is just going to stand by the believed to be the body of Nathan Smith. They want the medical examiner's office to make the call and the final determination on this. So it is official from the Milton Police Department, but they really need the medical examiner to sign off on this before they can officially say, and that could take a couple of days.
All right. Marissa Sarback live for us. Thank you so much for bringing that update.
Also developing today at 4, Gwinnett County police are investigating a shooting at a motel that left a teenager dead and a man now facing charges. Investigators say 31-year-old Shamarcus Cochran is in custody, charged with involuntary manslaughter and reckless conduct. Now, this all happened at the Live-In Lodge extended stay on Stone Mountain Highway last night. Now, police say that Cochran told detectives that he had just returned from the gun range and was cleaning his weapon when it went off, striking the wall where the teenager was playing video games. Police have not released the name of that 17-year-old victim.
Let's take you outside right now for a live look over Midtown Atlanta. Blue skies there. We're tracking a weekend forecast for you as you make plans. We're on the first weekend in a while. We haven't talked about snow,
man,
ice.
look at that. Blue skies, all that stuff. Yeah, our temperatures are on this roller coaster ride. It seems like up and down and all around.
But it looks like it's going to be a pretty good weekend, and it's Super Bowl weekend, which is the game you can catch right here on 11Alive. Shameless plug. Meteorologist Melissa Nord telling us how the weekend is going to be a little cooler, though.
A little cooler than where we are now, and it feels like spring outside. Certainly. It is February 6th, Go Red for Women Day. That's why we're all in our red, and we've got a lot of red on the temperature map as well. This is our 24-hour temperature change map showing you those numbers are 20 degrees warmer in Atlanta than 24 hours ago. And look at Dalton, 24 degrees warmer, Covington 23. Feels like spring outside. 65 currently in Atlanta at the airport, low 60s in Athens, Covington. Even the North Georgia mountains have cracked above 50 today, but that is about to change. You see this cloud cover moving into North Georgia, these few showers across the higher elevations as well. That is a front, a little clipper system, and behind it, there's much cooler air moving in overnight into tomorrow. So we'll take those high temperatures back by about 15 degrees tomorrow afternoon versus the warmth we have out there right now. Wind advisory in effect through tomorrow at 1 o'clock for the higher elevations. In your lower valleys, we're going to have gusts to 40 miles an hour, but in those higher peaks above 1,200 feet, the wind gusts could be 50 miles an hour. And we're already seeing a breeze out there right now. Most of these wind gusts 20 to 30 miles an hour. Watch them increasing overnight tonight. Some of those peak gusts tomorrow morning on those ridge tops could top 50 miles an hour. That is going to usher in a colder picture for your Saturday. Friday evening, though, winds are picking up. It's otherwise pretty decent outside. Sunset not until after 6:10. We'll still be at 60 degrees at 6 o'clock today. Maybe a nice Friday to kick off your evening with a beverage outside or a nice walk with the dog and celebrate finally a little bit of warmth outside. We'll look ahead to those ups and downs over the weekend. Plus, if we could hit 70 next week, that's ahead in your 7-day forecast.
Hey, we're not mad about those temperatures at all. Thank you so much, Melissa. Well, tomorrow, loved ones, first responders, and community members, they will come together to honor the life of a fallen police officer. That is Pradeep Tamang. Tonight, we're learning more about Tamang. Gwinnett County Police sharing these new photos on Facebook saying, quote, Pradeep absolutely loved being a police officer and took great pride in his work. He was always excited to share his experiences and stories, and he genuinely looked forward to going to work each day. Serving and protecting the community meant a lot to him. There will be a celebration of life for Officer Tamang tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. That will take place at 12 Stone Church in Lawrenceville. And the community is encouraged to come out, line the procession route following that service from the church on Buford Drive to the Tem Stewart Funeral Home on Simonton Road. And in honor of Officer Tamang, Governor Brian Kemp has ordered flags at the state capitol and across Gwinnett County to be lowered.
That's right. It's going to be lowered to half-staff, Faith, as well. We're going to have live coverage of tomorrow's service on 11Alive Plus, so you can keep up with the coverage. Just download 11Alive Plus. The app is free on your smart TV.
Well, now to this, a new bill dropped in the Georgia legislature that would restrict the release of police body camera footage if the footage records someone's death.
So this afternoon, the measure is facing some resistance out there. We're going to get out to 11Alive's Doug Richards. He joins us live now from the state capitol. So, Doug, why the pushback here?
Well, critics of this bill, which affects both body cam and dash cam video, think that it could give police, if they were so motivated, a way to perhaps cover up misconduct.
You were sleeping when I walked up here.
In June of 2020, Atlanta police officers in a fast food restaurant parking lot confronted 27-year-old Rayshard Brooks.
Put your hands behind your back.
And shot him to death after a scuffle over a police taser. Police body cam footage released publicly showed Brooks in his final moments. Now, a state lawmaker says the law should restrict police from releasing body camera footage that shows a person dying.
And we're trying to just make sure someone's final moments, they have some dignity in their, in their life and in their death.
Republican Joseph Gullett says his bill is aimed at profiteers who upload such video in order to go viral. The investigation in the Brooks case used police body cam footage to charge the officers.
They better get out of our community.
As protesters who had seen the cell phone video and body cam footage filled Atlanta streets with demands for justice. After 2 years, a special prosecutor who said he had analyzed the body cam footage closely dropped the charges.
I think public outcry is a huge factor in some of these investigations.
Democrat Eric Bell says he joined some of the protests after Brooks was killed. Bell says Gullett's bill could help police cover up body camera evidence.
While I do think it's a good intended bill, I think we have to think about the consequences that it puts on all public safety.
Gullett's bill would allow the release of body cam footage to victims' families as well as to attorneys, perhaps litigating the case, but not to the public and not to the news media. The bill has some support from both Republicans and Democrats. Live at the Capitol, Doug Richards, 11Alive News.
We just have to see how this all shakes out, Doug. Thanks a lot, sir, for the update. Well, a man accused in multiple sexual assault cases is now set to appear before a judge tomorrow. 31-year-old Kwame Shabazz was taken into custody last night by the Gwinnett County Police Department. Police said that he's been extradited to Atlanta and will be transferred to the Fulton County Jail. Now, we first told you about the accusations that he faced yesterday on 11 Live News at 4. As police shared this video, they say that Shabazz walking through an apartment building on Cosmopolitan Boulevard here. This is in January. Investigators say he forced his way into a woman's apartment and assaulted her. And then the next day, another woman nearby called police. She said a man exposed himself to her on Piedmont Road. The description that she gave sounded familiar to the officers, so that led them right back to Shabazz. And then last night on 11 Live, our very own Angelina Salcido showed a woman this photograph who lives in the area.
Erratic, I would say, maybe is the better word. He was just super intense. He came over to my neighbor's house and started going through the garbage bins and then exposed himself to myself and my fiance, and then stayed exposed and just kind of left. We called the cops.
Shabazz was wanted on multiple charges in Atlanta, including rape and sexual battery. Officials said that he's also on probation, has a probation warrant for an arrest in Fulton County and a rape warrant in College Park. All right, coming up next at 4 on 11 Alive Plus, an outpouring of love for Savannah Guthrie and her family from across the country as the search continues for her missing mother. The latest on the FBI's desperate search.
Also coming up, dogs adventure and viral fame, how one bus is turning shelter pups into social media stars and finding them forever homes. And at 4:11, we want to help you out on your commute. This is a live look through the GDOT camera. You're looking at I-75, 85 South at 10th Street, right in Midtown there. The traffic is moving, nothing major to report, but we will keep a close eye on this for you. You're watching 11 Alive News at 4 o'clock. And before we go, don't forget, you can always find us on 11 Alive Plus. The app is free and ready to download. Well, today we continue to follow the search for Nancy Guthrie, the powerful outpouring of love for Savannah Guthrie, the NBC Today anchor, and her family, from viewers and colleagues to celebrities and even the president. Millions across the country are rallying together, hoping and praying for Nancy Guthrie's safe return.
Absolutely, and support pouring in from coast to coast during this trying to bring some light during this agonizing search for Nancy. Visuals are being held all across the country as people answer Savannah's plea for prayer. Nancy Guthrie was reported missing Sunday afternoon after she did not show up at church. In Tucson, Nancy's community is keeping the faith and joining the search. Multiple media outlets and NBC, of course, the family from across the country are hoping for a good outcome.
We are all praying for her safe return.
Yeah, it's just horrific. Our hearts, our thoughts, our prayers are with the family.
Yeah, the FBI says that they're investigating a ransom letter sent to a local and national media outlets along with other leads.
Blue skies with that camera shaking a bit and the breezy winds outside. Temperatures are warm today. They are not going to stay warm in the long-term trend into the weekend because we do have a little bit of a drop coming by tomorrow. 65 right now in Atlanta at the moment. You see some clouds moving into North Georgia, Northeast Georgia. That's ahead of this next cold front. We call this a clipper system. It doesn't have a lot of moisture. They originate generally from Alberta in Canada. Alberta Clipper is their name. And they've got cooler air and drier air behind them. So you can see that cooler air on this temperature map. 30s in Cincinnati, Chicago, 20s in Cleveland. Still 58 in Nashville, but that cooler air going to be sliding in here as we fast forward into the start of the weekend. So mid-60s today. Tomorrow we take a step back, like by 15 degrees for most areas. 40s to around 50 degrees. Gusty winds are with us throughout Saturday. Then we start to moderate Sunday and even more as we get into early next week. But the cold air coming in is going to come in with some gusty winds. That'll be advecting or pushing in that colder air. Wind advisory in Northeast Georgia through 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Some of those wind gusts could be topping out in the highest peaks above 50 miles an hour. Watch our forecast wind gusts. 25, 30 mile an hour gusts through the evening. As we push into the overnight, we're still gusting to 20 or 30 miles in the metro, but the little purple color on the map on the higher elevations, those are those peak wind gusts that could be over 50 miles an hour. So we see those through the overnight, through tomorrow morning, and then finally tomorrow afternoon, they'll come down a few notches. But that northwest wind is blowing in the colder air. So tomorrow, this map is going to be minus 20 in some areas instead of plus 20 degrees. This is our 24-hour temperature change graphic, which shows you how temperatures right now compare to 24 hours ago. So we're running about 20 degrees warmer than it was Thursday, 65 in Atlanta, Athens 62, 64 in Covington. Look at Rome, 67 degrees. That's a nice change from last weekend. This weekend, breezy and chilly on Saturday, Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. Looking like a good day for some flag football outside before you watch the game on 11Alive. Forecast track hour by hour. Clear skies early tonight. Those higher elevations, we'll see the clouds building in. I don't think many of those clouds make it to Atlanta, but it'll drop us into the 30s and upper 20s by first thing tomorrow morning. Saturday's a breezy day and a chilly day, but kind of like yesterday, there's not a ton of clouds in the sky. We'll be topping out close to 50 degrees. Sunday, a cold start, probably 20s in a lot of areas. Then we'll be in the 50s in the afternoon with some clouds coming into play as warmer air surges in here early next week. Speaking of the warmer air, look at these numbers. 50 tomorrow, 56 on Sunday. Then we're back where we've started the weekend at, in the mid-60s for Monday, and even warmer than that, flirting with 70 degrees Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. Now, when we bring in the warmer air, we're going to bring in more clouds and a little moisture. So there's a chance of a few showers in the forecast here Wednesday and again Friday of next week. This is for the most part like nuisance light stuff, but we'll be tracking that and how that forecast changes through the next couple of days. Today's Weather Wow moment, a nice pretty sunset photo. This is from Lawrenceville. Lynn sent this in yesterday. Thank you so much, Lynn. This is our Weather Wow moment of the day. You can post your photo and become tomorrow's Weather Wow moment. Share it in our 11Alive Weather Impact Facebook group and join the conversation. Ron?
All right, thanks a lot, Melissa. Well, the Olympics are officially underway, and the opening ceremony in Italy was nothing short of spectacular. We're talking about Mariah Carey's performance, to tributes to Italian legends, and it had a show for everyone out there. So Mariah Carey wowed the crowd with a rendition of the classic Italian hit, Volare. I can't sing it like her, but hey, I threw it out there, why not? While Greece led the Parade of Nations as traditions dictates. Dancers from Teatra alla Scala's Academy brought winter sports to life, and giant figures honored legendary Italian composers like Verdi and others. The ceremony also paid tribute to the late Giorgio Armani, longtime designer of U.S. Olympic uniforms. Now, you can watch the Winter Olympics tonight on NBC's primetime coverage and on 11Alive Plus starting at 8 o'clock tonight. All right, straight ahead today at 4. From wagging tails to happy endings, you're going to meet the Storybook Dog Bus giving neglected dogs a second shot at life. Plus, after lawsuits, leadership changes, and months of questions, the Metro Atlanta Police Department are releasing a sweeping internal review today. What it revealed coming up next. And remember, you can always watch us anytime on 11Alive Plus. The app is free to download on your TV.
Outside or behind so nice. Like, you know, when you meet people like that, you might check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You don't know what they're going to be like just because it's like you're so famous and you're. She was so kind.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she was amazing.
I love that. Yes, I do.
She also had a real diamond in her tooth, so that was pretty cool.
A diamond?
A diamond, like a real one, like a shiny.
In her
beautiful-
tooth?
Yeah.
Interesting. How did they do that?
It was very cool. I think it's probably like a
little
cap or something, but it was really cool.
Well, time for some good news on your Friday. It is a bus with a purpose, an eye-catching carriage that is bringing joy and smiles to people all over Cherokee County. And somebody who brings a lot of joy and smile to us here at 11Alive is Caitlin Ross, joining us with another joyful story. Caitlin.
This one really knocks it out of the park. This is going to make your weekend. This is the cutest thing you probably have ever seen. It is a real-life fairy tale. It's called the Storybook Dog Bus, and you're all going to want to come aboard. It's a tale as old as time.
Let's go!
The kind of love that starts with a wagging tail and ends with an open door and a promise of adventure.
We have a pointer, a Newfoundland, and a giant schnauzer.
Because sometimes the best adventures begin before you even know where you're going.
Who's ready? Come on, guys, let's go!
All aboard the Storybook Dog Bus, where that fairy tale comes to life. With any good story, there has to be a main character.
I'm the teacher, AKA pack leader, and you have to tell them no, sit down, be quiet. It's the same thing, just with a bunch of rowdy dogs. Come on, good job!
Erin just started driving the bus in April, and she already has a wait list. She drives 8 different routes, and the dogs are paired up based on size and temperament.
Yes, there's several of them that have strong personalities. The little dogs have way more attitude than the big dogs.
They're all characters, and many of them have developed huge followings online after their trips around town. With the wind in their fur and the sun on their face, these pups were born to be stars.
We drive through downtown Woodstock, and it is like the paparazzi is what I like to call them.
Oh my God, is that the Storybook Bus? Because I recognize it from Facebook.
The bus has gone viral, with people all over the country following along on their adventures.
We'll pull up at a red light, and I have 3 people that are just in awe and yelling, hey, hey, hey. I've had people chase me down, make me stop, just so that they could say hello to the dog. Come on, boys, come on, let's go!
And that viral love is now helping the underdogs.
This is little Georgia. She is our latest rescue. Say hi, Georgia. She has crazy teeth.
People who follow the bus online helped save Georgia after she was being neglected.
They covered her vet bills within an hour of me posting about her. She's pretty much set for life.
She now brings shelter dogs along for the ride, giving them visibility, connection, and a real shot at finding their forever homes. Now, every stop is more than a ride.
This way, come on!
It's a chance for a shelter dog to be noticed,
They're so cute!
loved, and finally taken home.
You can see it in their eyes. They're just so grateful and happy that they got another chance in life. All right, guys, here we go.
A second chance and a happy ending.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that amazing?
I love it. I love how the dog even knows, like coming right out the front door and running straight to the bus, like bus time's here.
You see them looking out the window and they're like, hello, is my bus here? It is the cutest thing ever. And I love that she's using that visibility. They go so viral and she's now using that to help rescue animals. So she's taking them out on the bus, giving them that huge platform and then getting them adopted.
Like a modern day Snow White.
Truly incredible, right?
Like oh my gosh, I absolutely love it, Caitlin. Thank you.
Thank you.
That is a fantastic Friday story. Thank you so much, Caitlin. Hey, what's also fantastic, how warm things are outside. We're 65 degrees right now in Atlanta. We have lots of sunshine ahead through the rest of the afternoon, but come tomorrow morning at first light, there's going to be a chill in the air. We'll talk about how long that chill will last into your weekend. That is ahead. Now, also in the forecast, I'm tracking more warmth. Next week, 60s, perhaps close to 70 degrees. We'll have that forecast ahead.
All right, coming up next, a long-awaited report pulls back the curtain on South Fulton's police department, what it uncovers and what city leaders say happens next.
And jury selection begins in a high-profile school shooting case. How the court plans to find 12 impartial jurors for a trial already drawing intense attention.
Plus, the next front on our doorstep, gonna whip up those wins and bring in a cooler start to the weekend.
And from jet engines to gold medals, how Team USA's bobsledders are getting a high-tech edge thanks to science and engineering.
Hey, we want to thank you so much for joining us and streaming on 11Alive Plus as we come up on 4:30. I'm Faith Jesse.
And I'm Ron Jones, in for Cheryl Preheim. New tonight at 4:30, the city of South Fulton says that it's now taking steps towards transparency and publishing a 60-plus page review of its police department.
That's right. Remember, the police chief retired last month after he was placed on leave following lawsuits filed against the department last year. 11Alive's Molly Oak dives into this new report.
A step forward
for our city and for public trust.
That's what the City of South Fulton mayor called the release of a 60-plus page review of the city's police department.
It outlines practical, professional recommendations grounded in best practices, and it will guide our work as we strengthen policies, improve accountability, and continue building a police department that earns and deserves the confidence of the people it serves.
The City Council unanimously voted in July to launch the investigation into the department. This came after the filing of multiple lawsuits, 2 against the former police chief, 1 alleging corruption and misconduct in the department.
We're talking about someone who was here that stood this agency up 8 years ago and the challenges that came about with that. And then we get to this point where things are reported that happens. He's placed on administrative leave.
The report found outdated and inconsistently applied policies, with one of the focuses on internal affairs, recommending standalone policies for various subject areas like sexual harassment and discrimination.
And I think the focus for all of us right now is really going to have to be taking a real good look at this report, finding out where our weaknesses were, so we don't find ourselves in this kind of position again.
The mayor says the department already began implementing recommendations.
All right, we are tracking your weekend forecast this Friday.
That's right. Let's get to meteorologist Melissa Nord. This is a big weekend. We've got a lot going on.
A lot going on, and you know what? A strange weekend for us because I'm not going to be tracking snow, ice, severe weather, any of that. But I will be tracking sunshine here, and look at this, live look. Getting ready for Super Bowl 60 there in Atlanta, or rather, not in Atlanta, out in Santa Clarita, California. I wish it was in Atlanta. Then we could be right here near all the action. You can watch it right here on 11Alive, though. All right, sunshine over Midtown right now, over downtown. Your weekend forecast, 100% chance of no rain, no snow, no ice, no sleet, no storms. That's the forecast. That's a winning forecast for the weekend. But it's not going to be as warm as today. You see that 50 for Saturday? A little chilly outside tomorrow afternoon. These numbers are all going to be minus 15 to 20 from where we are right now. So 20 degrees warmer today than where we were yesterday. We're going on the opposite end of the pendulum for tomorrow. Currently in the mid-60s here in the metro, 64 Marietta, Peachtree City 64, and 50s in the North Georgia mountains. Here's the change coming in. Look at this rain across the upstate of South Carolina into Raleigh and pushing through interior North Carolina. That's a little front coming in. It's a clipper system. These clipper systems don't have a lot of moisture to work with, but this one is bringing some moisture to the mid-Atlantic and Carolinas. For us, it just kind of clips us, so to speak, and it brings in that cooler punch of air as we get into the weekend. Now, what's going to drive in that cooler air? Some strong wind gusts. Wind advisory going to be in effect for the mountains until 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Some of our peak gusts could be around 60 miles an hour in some of those highest elevations. Already some wind gusts 20 to 30. Watch them picking up from the northwest by 9 o'clock this evening and increasing even more as we head into the overnight. That'll be what drops those temperatures by 15 to 20 degrees by tomorrow afternoon. But this evening, pretty nice outside. Take a walk outside with the dog. Maybe you've got the, I love that Storytale bus that Caitlin shared the story of. This evening, if you're going to walk your dog, temperatures in the 60s early and then falling off to the 50s after sunset. We'll come back. We'll take a look at whether the cool factor that starts the weekend is going to last into next week. That's ahead.
All right, we look forward to it in those 60s. Thank you so much. Hey, before your next doctor's visit, there's a new tool that could save you some serious sticker shock. Dan Kennedy broke it all down for us on 11Alive Plus.
This morning on 11Alive Plus, in case you missed it, have you ever gotten a medical bill and wondered, how did it cost that much? Well, you are not alone. And now there is a tool at your disposal to look up those costs before the procedure even begins. We talked with Dr. John Duke from Georgia Tech about the Georgia Cost Comparison Tool that was just launched by Tech and the state.
So it's apcd.georgia.gov. That's all payer claims database, apcd.georgia.gov. It looks at general costs across Georgia. So for example, what is the median or average cost of a given procedure, an MRI, a hip surgery? It doesn't necessarily tell you specifically for your insurance what might be your out-of-pocket costs and copays. Therefore, it's important also to check with your insurer and to check with your provider when making decisions, but it provides an immense amount of information across all of the major systems in Georgia. for what things cost.
Catch interviews like that every morning from 9 to 11 a.m. from here in our streaming center over on 11Alive Plus. We also follow breaking news as it happens. We'll see you Monday at 9 a.m.
All right, I think we have already started because the opening ceremony for the 2026 Winter Olympic Games in Italy is happening right now on 11 Alive. And the competition has already started, but there's a lot more to come.
That's right. We will have to wait and see a while until we see the first bobsled races. They don't start until February 15th. But of course, we will be cheering on this legend right here. This is Georgia native Alana Myers-Taylor. She is already the most decorated Black Winter Olympian in history with 5 medals and hopes to add to that this year. And there are so many factors that go into making a bobsled fast, but a big one, Ron, is the science behind it.
It's all about the science, right? So 11 Alive Cheryl Preheim is going to take us inside the laboratory where speed is the name of the game.
Bobsled is a sport where 1/100th of a second can be the difference between going home empty-handed and winning gold. So technology plays a key role in building the fastest sled possible. It's a game changer for Team USA and Atlanta's own Alana Myers-Taylor.
We would do it, absolutely, in a heartbeat.
There's sports and there's science, and then there's sports science.
Yeah, I don't think it gets cooler than this. I love speed, I love racing. I've been in it all my life.
Mike Unger is the director of the Halo Wind Tunnel.
So today we're working on developing a new body for Team USA Bobsled.
With the help of this giant jet engine-looking contraption, they simulate conditions to what bobsledders experience approaching speeds of up to 90 miles an hour on the track.
Bobsledding in particular, it doesn't have engines, so it's about conserving momentum. Our athletes are working every day trying to improve their speed and their strength, and so now we're doing the other side of that of trying to help them improve their equipment.
Nicole Whitting is a senior aerodynamic engineer, and just like Olympians, she dedicates her life to her craft.
I critique every single one of their runs, but not only for our athletes, I'm also watching all of the other countries to get ideas of what are their athletes doing and how can we do better.
What started as a unique idea is now an integral part of USA Bobsled's evolving success.
So our idea was we got to gather as much information as we possibly can. So that's what we did. We tested all the sleds they had and started talking to them in extreme detail about all of those little details to learn, because we're still learning today about this stuff.
And there wouldn't be a Team USA without them.
I'm so proud of all of our athletes, and also I am really proud because I've also helped shape their equipment and how they're going to be sitting in the sled and all of that. So it's really nice that we've had a part in their success.
Alana texted me that it's been snowing in Cortina and the track looks great. They'll be training on it very soon. The bobsled competition is towards the end of the Winter Games. Reporting in Milan, Italy, Cheryl Preheim, 11 Alive News.
All right, thanks a lot, Cheryl. And don't forget, 11 Alive is your source for all things Winter Olympics. Cheryl Preheim is in Milan, covering it all for you folks. And you can watch it on 11 Alive and stream it on 11 Alive Plus. And just talking about the science of bobsledding and all the different events. I mean, 1/10 of a second can make a huge difference for these athletes.
It absolutely can, and we are so excited to see everything going down.
Yeah.
I told you what, it's very cold up there, but hopefully that cold will translate into some gold.
Look at you, dropping bars right now. All right, straight ahead, folks. From Roswell to the Seahawks sidelines, you're going to meet the hometown coach making history and the Georgia star who's sidelined but still inspiring people.
And coming up next, jury selection for the Colin Drake trial is kicking off on Monday, but it won't start in Barrow County as a new location is chosen to ensure impartial jurors in this high-profile case. You're watching 11 Alive News at 4 o'clock. And before we go, we want to help you on your commute here at 438. This is a live look at I-75 south past Howell Mill Road this afternoon. Stick with us for the latest on your traffic. It's slow moving, but nothing major to report there. And don't forget, we are always live on 11 Alive Plus. Download the app to watch for free anytime.
Welcome back, everyone. Today marked another very intense day in the decades-old murder case.
That's right. This was the 5th day of testimony in the trial of the man accused of killing a University of Georgia law student more than 20 years ago. We're talking about Edric Faust. He continued his trial today. He's accused of killing Tara Baker in 2001. Prosecutors say newly developed DNA testing technology, unavailable at the time, ties him directly to this crime. The defense is pushing back, arguing the DNA evidence was mishandled over the years and pointing to a possible alternate suspects who knew Baker. Well, today in court, we heard from cold case investigators who worked the file long after this homicide.
Well, this Monday, jury selection will begin in the trial of Colin Gray. He's the father charged in the mass shooting at Appalachian High School in 2024 that his son, Colt Gray, allegedly carried out. Now, it's the first of its kind here in Georgia where a parent is now facing charges in a crime like this. 11Alive's Grace King gives us a look at what we can expect.
When jury selection begins Monday, it won't take place in Barrow County.
Imagine trying to find 12 impartial citizens who have not been affected by this directly or indirectly.
Instead, Judge Nicholas Prim will temporarily take the bench in Hall County.
You have to take this to a new county where you have a new crop of jurors that can be fair and impartial so that the defendant's constitutional rights are guaranteed.
Robert James is the former DeKalb County District Attorney who now works as a private defense attorney. He's not representing anyone in this case, but is curious to see how it plays out. The indictment charges Colin Gray with 29 counts, including second-degree murder, saying he, quote, consciously disregarded a substantial and unjustifiable risk by allowing his son, Colt Gray, access to a firearm and ammunition after receiving sufficient warning that Colt would endanger the bodily safety of another.
The more specific the warning the father had, and the more warnings that were available to the father or that the father got, right, the better the state's case.
On September 4th, 2024, authorities say Colt opened fire inside Appalachian High, killing 4 and wounding 9. Now, jurors will have to decide whether Colin Gray should be criminally responsible for that tragedy.
It's a very novel and new, extraordinary, even legal concept, right? It's very aggressive. We've not seen anything like this in Georgia.
In Barrow County, Grace King, 11Alive News.
So jury selection begins at 9 a.m. Monday in Hall County, and then once the jurors are actually picked, Judge Prim will then move it back to Barrow County where the trial will actually take place. 11Alive is going to be following the trial of Colin Gray all week long, and you can get live updates throughout the trial on 11Alive Plus.
Well, coming up next here from high school hallways to the Super Bowl spotlight, how Georgia athletes are leaving their mark on the NFL.
And strong gusty winds likely overnight and into your Saturday. What those will do to our temperatures, that's ahead in your weather impact forecast next.
And remember, you can watch us anytime on 11Alive Plus. The app is free to download on your TV. Stay with us. Nearly 800,000 people in the United States have a stroke each and every year. And according to the CDC, about 1 in 4 happen to people who have already had one.
That's right. But today, new data was released on the study of a new investigational drug, which could help prevent some strokes from happening again without the side effects of traditional therapies. Well, in today's Health Minute, Mandy Guthrie talks to one of the researchers about how this new medicine is different and why he says this could be a game changer for some stroke survivors.
In the U.S., someone has a stroke every 40 seconds, and about 1 in 4 survivors have another stroke within 5 years. Part of traditional post-stroke treatment includes blood-thinning medications to help lower risk of another event, but it can come at a cost.
All blood thinners in some way raise the concern about an increased risk of bleeding.
Dr. Andrew Russman with Cleveland Clinic says post-stroke treatment options haven't changed much in decades, but he's one of the investigators studying the safety and efficacy of a new class of oral medications called Factor XIa inhibitors.
They work by preventing the pathologic or bad clots that occur in the body, but they don't seem to interfere with the good kind of clotting that's important for the normal healing process.
Researchers say a national clinical trial of a drug in this new class found evidence it reduces risk of recurrent stroke when added to standard therapies without increasing the risk of major bleeding.
It's a game changer in the care of acute stroke patients, and that's something that gives us hope that we can prevent stroke in a large population of patients and add on to existing therapies.
The manufacturer, Bayer, says the medicine has received fast-track designation from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
I think there is some anticipation that if this medication goes through this thoughtful review process, we would hope to see the drug available around this time next year.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Guthrie.
You know, the study from November shows this drug can actually help reduce bleeding, but it does not work that well for some of the most serious strokes. So the FDA says that Fast Track is going to help get the important new drugs to patients sooner.
Well, now to this, 2 Atlanta charter schools will close at the end of the school year. This is KIPP Soul Primary School and Soul Academy will close on June 30th. You may remember last year we were talking about this. We told you that schools were at risk of being repurposed. Well, according to a filing with the state, this closure will affect 122 employees. The schools served a combined total of just under 700 students. And KIPP Atlanta Schools says it is working with staff members and families to help in the process of finding new positions and schools.
All right, I was digging through some numbers. It has been 27 days since it's been this warm outside in Atlanta. We're now 65 degrees. The last time we were at least that warm was back 4 weekends ago on January 10th. And we also had severe weather that weekend. So be thankful for how warm it is outside. 65 right now in Atlanta. It will not be this warm tomorrow, and it will not be this warm on Sunday either. But it won't take too long for us to get back in this territory this time around. You can see on satellite and radar a bit of cloud cover moving into far north Georgia. There's a clipper system that I've been talking about. This is a front with not a lot of moisture with it. It is bringing some active weather, some light rain and snow showers there to the Carolinas up to the mid-Atlantic. For us, though, we just have gusty winds rolling in behind that front, and that's going to drop our temperatures tomorrow. So we're in the 60s here. If you drive up the road to Lexington, it's only in the 40s, and we'll see that colder air arriving here by tomorrow morning. So gusty and a chillier day tomorrow. Then we're going to dig out of that hole and return closer to average by Sunday, and it's even warmer next week. Wind advisory in effect just for northeast Georgia. Some of these wind gusts on those higher ridge tops and mountain tops that climb up in elevation, some of those gusts could be easily over 50 miles an hour heading into the overnight and tomorrow morning. And that's where we could see some isolated trees coming down, or maybe a stray tree falling on a power line, creating a power outage. So forecast wind gusts, we can see those winds turning more northwesterly by 11 o'clock tonight, and then they drive in that cold air. You see those purple colors, those are our peak wind gusts and those higher elevations. Wind gusts in the metro tomorrow morning, around 20, 25 miles an hour. We'll have wind chills stepping out below the freezing mark in the 20s first thing tomorrow morning. By Sunday, winds are turning lighter. So a lot warmer today than where we were yesterday. will flip the pattern for tomorrow. Temperatures right now, mid and upper 60s here across the metro, 50s North Georgia mountains tomorrow, upper 40s to right around 50 degrees. So there will be a lot of sunshine tomorrow. Sunday, we're closer to average. So it is the first dry weekend in a month across all of North Georgia. That's something to be thankful for, but you want an extra layer tomorrow as you're out and about. Forecast track shows those few clouds in far North Georgia. Not a lot of moisture to work with, so it is just cloud cover. Those should thin out by tomorrow morning, those clouds. Then we'll see plenty of sunshine tomorrow afternoon. Despite that, though, look at the afternoon temperatures, 40s to right around 50 degrees. Factoring in that breezy wind, it's probably going to feel a little bit cooler than that. Sunday brings in sunshine to start. Then we bring in clouds by the end of the day, but we will manage to make it back around average to the mid and upper 50s on Sunday. The warmth is coming back. Big, nice surge of warmth to come next week. It's not here infinitely and indefinitely as we fast forward to the end of February, but at least for about a good 4 or 5 day stretch, these highs are going to be running in the 60s and closer to 70 degrees. Here's your 7-day forecast. Temperatures tomorrow. Gusty outside. We'll see plenty of sunshine around 50 degrees, mid 50s on Sunday after starting off in the 20s in the morning. And then here comes the warmth. Spring feeling outside early next week, high in the mid and upper 60s. Slight chance of some showers on Wednesday. This is going to be kind of a nuisance category event, not a high impact event. A few more showers possible at the end of the week.
Next on 11Alive Plus, a local coach, a sideline star, and a Super Bowl story rooted right here in Georgia coming up next. And don't forget, you can always find us live on 11Alive Plus. The app is free to download, and it's ready to go. All right, welcome back, everyone. A few predictions ahead of Super Bowl 60 from former teachers and coaches of some of the hometown stars. The New England Patriots taking on the Seattle Seahawks is going to happen Sunday night right here, only on 11Alive. And Metro Atlanta will be well represented on that big stage. 11Alive's Joe Ripley takes us back to school where the big league dreams first began.
Mike McDonald grew up in Roswell and went to Centennial High School. His leadership stood out early on, and eventually he became the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks. While coach will be roaming the sidelines, Antonio Gibson with the New England Patriots will be watching from the sidelines due to injury. It wasn't too long ago, though, that Gibson was flying high at Eagles Landing High School. Melissa Freeman met a young Mike McDonald in her first year as a counselor at Centennial High School in Roswell.
And it was just so evident early on with Mike how, genuine he is and hardworking and disciplined.
McDonald served as varsity football captain his senior year, was a member of the National Honor Society, and once upon a time wanted to become the general manager of the Boston Red Sox.
One coach even commented that he was the best student athlete he had coached in 14 years.
Blowing out his knee put his playing days to bed. Still, McDonald's route took him to the pinnacle of the NFL as the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks.
It would probably be the greatest sports achievement at Centennial.
Wesley Wasgen was an assistant coach on McDonald's football team, praising his toughness, character, and belief in himself.
I am super protective over my own daughter, but Mike is the kind of kid that if your daughter brought him home, you'd be okay with it.
Nearly 50 miles away,
he was fast, he was shifty, and he was big.
Antonio Gibson sat at these same desks at Eagles Landing High School in McDonough. Claude Spinks coached Gibson in track.
He's really the nice guy that you see. He is super in the locker room. He's a great teammate.
A third-round pick by the Commanders, Gibson recently signed a new contract with the New England Patriots. And while a knee injury has him sidelined for this year's Super Bowl,
I've learned so much watching him. I didn't know what a running back was before he started playing.
he's still inspiring his old teachers, like Shannon Vessel, pouring back into the same community that poured into him.
As a teacher, that's what you want to see, is your students live out their dreams.
And we will be rooting on both hometown heroes there. Super Bowl 60 airs at 6:30 Sunday night on 11Alive.
All right, thanks a lot, Joe. Still to come on 11Alive News at 5, a body found during the search for the son of Lil Jon. What we're learning about this investigation coming up next.
And exclusive reporting. All the local news you need, live or on demand. 11Alive Plus, complete coverage of your local news, weather, and more. When news breaks, watch 11Alive Plus. See the story as it's happening. Be on the scene faster than ever before. Live updates from the team you trust. Stream breaking news on 11Alive Plus. Download free on your TV now.
Atlanta, we see you grinding it out every day to keep your family safe, your bills paid, and your community strong. At 11Alive News, we get it, and we're here to help.
These are the Atlanta zip codes with the highest car insurance rates.
Reporting on real issues.
We uncovered millions of dollars in unused rental assistance.
Sharing real solutions.
After our investigation aired, GDOT took action to make Georgia roads safer.
For solutions that make your life better, watch 11Alive News.
On Weather Impact Alert Days, stay informed, prepared, and connected with 11Alive and 11Alive Plus. Coverage that alerts you to what's coming and how it will impact you. Watch extended weather coverage with 11Alive and 11Alive Plus.
When the big story hits Atlanta,
A major water main break has left people with low water flow.
it's on 11Alive Plus. Watch the 24/7 stream to see what's going on, live as it happens. Local news when you want it. Weather impact alerts, we got you covered.
I want you to be aware of really cold air.
From wait what moments to oh no emergencies. Search 11Alive on your Roku, Fire, or Apple TV. Stream free on 11Alive Plus.
We love Atlanta.
I love the activity, the life,
The parks,
the nightlife.
The people.
it's home.
That's why we're dedicated to making it the best it can be. Finding solutions that affect us all. Solutions that help us not just survive, but thrive. Solutions that help make our daily commutes easier and communities safer. Because we believe in Atlanta and its bright future. See solutions to make your life better on 11Alive News.
We know how much weather impacts your life, and some days are worse than others. 11Alive weather impact alerts get you ready for all of it.
Very heavy rain out there right now.
When weather threatens to mess up your plans or even threatens your safety, 11Alive News will immediately issue a weather impact alert, warning you about what's coming, the impact, and how you